Go ahead, Mr. Lester.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a certification of closed session pursuant to subsection 2-3712D of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended. Each member of the Board of Supervisors upon roll call certifies that to the best of their knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and only such public business matters that were identified in the motions by which the closed meeting was convened, were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the Board of Supervisors. Any member of the Board of Supervisors who believes that there was a departure from the requirements shall state so prior to the vote, indicating substance of that departure in his or her own judgment has taken place. Are there any supervisors who believe a departure has taken place? Seeing none, being none, if you agree that the matters heard, discussed, or considered during the closed meeting were pursuant only to the motions by which the closed meeting was convened, please signify by saying yea or yes. Andrew Hensley.
Yes.
Glenn Wallace.
Yes.
Tara Dye.
Yes.
David Eaton.
Yes.
Rebecca Dye.
Yes.
Nate Kaiser.
Yes.
Steve Breeden.
Yes.
Sir, you have approval to turn to regular session.
We need to have a motion to come out of executive session.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion that
I'll
we go back
second.
into regular.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to come out of executive session, return to regular session. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? We're back in regular session. Okay, the first thing we need to do is we have invocation. I'm going to ask Caleb to do that. And then if you continue to stand, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father God, Lord, we love you, we thank you, and we praise you today, Father. Father, forgive us for where we fail you each and every day. And Lord, as we celebrated our mothers yesterday, Father, we just want to thank you for mothers, not just yesterday, but each and every day, Father. Lord, thank you for allowing us to be a part of our local government. Father, lead, guide, and direct us in everything that we do. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
Need a second for that motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I only received the rest of this agenda this afternoon, and so I'm just questioning, and I haven't even looked at it quite honestly, so I'm just questioning where we are with this agenda. You're talking about the amended agenda that you have before you.
The one that's dated 5/13/24.
And it goes past,
On red, it says amended 5/13/24.
the request goes past 13.
Yes.
Mr. Lester, I don't have that.
The request has 16.
Was there anything in our board book that explained the rest of this that's on this agenda that we're about to amend?
I think the only thing that it concerns is setting dates for public hearings
Okay.
in a reconvened meeting.
Was that asked for by you, Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
No. So, will you bring me one too, please? Thank you.
Is Jeff going to do the presentation? Okay. Okay, the very next item is VDOT Secondary Highway 6-year plan presentation. There's the man.
Okay. Got a couple, 3 new board members. We'll just hit very briefly on the 6-year plan. Each year, the county receives allocation for unpaved roads, as well as some tele-feed roads for projects on the secondary road system in the county. We look at their estimates for the projects that are on the list, as well as any carryover or deficits from the previous year, and then look at adding new projects. With the funding we had this year, we were able to add 1 new project at the 6th year, and that is Route 728, Davis Memorial Drive, which is off of Flat Circle. Flat Circle connects 58 to 71. It's approximately about half mile long. The projects that we'll be doing this coming season will be paving 824 Walt Drive, which is off the end of Tumbez Hollow, which we completed about 3 years ago, I guess it was. And we'll also be working on Honeacre Chapel. We expect those projects to start probably August this year after the budgets are approved and all the environmental reviews are complete. So just a quick synopsis. The 2 projects again we're doing this year will be 824 in Walk Drive, 671 Honeacre Chapel, and in FY30 we are adding Route 728 to Davis Memorial Drive, which is on the Flat Circle. So just wanted to hit the highlights of the plan for you this evening and entertain any questions that the board may have.
Anybody have any questions for Jeff?
I'm sorry, I do. If you don't mind.
Okay, no ma'am, go right ahead.
In full disclosure tonight, I really said let's hurry up and get our board meeting over with. And I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Okay, I do want to say I appreciate the work that you guys have done in my district that have cleaned up our roadsides and have taken care of a lot of things. And I did have that in my notes, and I can't find it now on the road numbers I wanted to specifically say. But I do have a question.
Okay.
Now, Davis Drive is over in Flat Circle, I get that, and it's a dead-end road.
Right.
And I know that every one of us have other places. Is that an emergent, I mean, how did that get on there? So
Well,
explain that to me.
we looked at some of our maintenance records and then also where we have what I would say outlying gravel roads. There's no other gravel roads all that close to that particular paved road from a maintenance operation standpoint. But I mean, if the board would want to entertain other routes, we can certainly look at that. But we pretty much we looked at that in house with our maintenance records and what our thoughts would be on the route.
Okay, now, like I say, I don't have a problem with that, but I know that since it's kind of up to us to make sure that some of our highway safety things get on your records,
Right.
then I'm going to say this again publicly, that the railroad crossing in Dank to Sawmill Holler is in really bad need of fixing. And I'd like to see that that's done. So I think these are things that we need to look at. There's other places I know, but that one just rises to the top for me tonight.
That'll be a railroad repair on the crossing. That's
I
not.
know.
But
You
yeah,
have
so
to save your money.
we'll make some calls and see what we can do, but that would be a railroad project.
Okay, and I do appreciate the work that's being done on Roanoke Hill. We haven't had a chance to talk, so I thank you for that. Do you see that is going to be finished before winter?
The bridge itself,
Yes.
that is the schedule for the contract. We're not administering that out of the residency. I've not heard of any anticipated issues as far as being complete, but I'll double check with our construction folks on that and let you know.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I have one thing. I guess you know where I'm going with this, but I keep putting it on the list. Is that behind Swords Creek Community Baptist Church, the road up there that keeps washing out,
Okay.
and we still have problems up there with that. I get calls consistently with people up there in that area concerned about if they needed a rescue squad or something to come up there. It's pretty bad. So I'll just, since you're here, I thought I'd throw that out.
I'll remind the headquarters again, Mr. Eaton.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else have a question?
I've talked to several people over the past 2 or 3 months, and the thing that keeps coming up is resurfacing some of these paved roads that are in need of repair. How is VDOT's process on getting that started?
That's largely done on a ranking system based on it's a CCI rating, which is basically the condition of the road. Roads are traveled, as I understand it, each year, and then ranked on their condition, and then added to the resurfacing list based on that condition. And I don't have the list in front of me this evening, but you'll see some resurfacing starting probably in June. You'll probably see some patching, more intense patching here in the next few weeks, and then the actual resurfacing probably, I'm guessing probably June will get fired up a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. And if you can get Lonzo a copy of that resurfacing list, that way when some of these people call, maybe I can say, well, your road's on the list.
Right. Yeah, and I'll try to get that on the board report, or I will get on the board report for the next meeting.
Anybody else have anything? I have one little thing that I need you to look at. I had a lady call, and she lives on Rose Street. I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's just outside the town limits. It's out on the old 71.
Okay.
On the back road. If you could take a look at it, her road is in pretty bad shape. It's a little section, but I suspect it may not be in the highway system because it's just outside the town limits.
It's just outside the town limits.
Yeah,
Okay.
390. I think it's 399 Rose Street.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay. We need a motion on that, Lonzo.
It's under my motions.
Okay. Thank you, Jed.
Thank you all.
Okay, Mr. Lester, you're up with the budget presentation.
Good afternoon, board members. Again, this is the second presentation concerning the Russell County budget for fiscal year 24-25. As we go through this budget presentation from the previous, to give some updates, of course, not everyone knows. If you don't know, the governor just approved the budget today. So both the House and Senate, we were receiving telephone conversations with legislators trying to work on some last minute things. We had phone conversations between legislators and board members last week trying to get some things added, and we got a few numbers that we're still lacking on as far as, and we should have those soon. But what I'd like to proceed with is, of course, to go over where we ended last time, to continue on this county, the 24-25 budget is what we were looking at before. Of course, the Virginia minimum wage, it did not make it. So that was one of our concerns that we had. It was still, the governor vetoed, and it was still being considered until 1 o'clock today. So, I mean, the next area of concern on the county budget was the regional jail increase, and we have worked with them, and the budget committee has worked with them. We have negotiated with them over the number of inmates, the anticipated inmates, the inmates that we could work through our community work program and other recovery programs. So that become very successful, and I'll be going through the numbers in the budget line items here soon. So next thing was, one of the areas of concern was the Russell County DSS, which is the foster care and CSA program. We did have an increase in it. It didn't come in as high as anticipated, but it's still an area of concern. Of course, as anyone can see, from electricity to gas to regular inflation, we had the 2025, our operations for each one of our departments that is going to incur from regular electricity, the cost of just doing business. And again, the Russell County disposal and transfer station increase. Of course, our contract's in place. It does increase our disposal and transfer station costs have increased, and I'll be going through that later too. One of the good things was on the Russell County Fire and Rescue, that was given extra money by the casino money last year. We got to leave that funding in place what was applicable last year. What they got last year is what they'll get this year. So we worked really hard trying to save both the fire and the rescue because we know how important it is to the county citizens. So we did everything that we could do to shield those two operations. The Russell County Resource Officer, I just got notification. They approved the budget around 1. I got notification that Russell County did get their RSOs at around 2 o'clock for the Lebanon and the Castlewood Elementary. So we've got those grants. Next area of concern, of course, which is the Russell County teacher salary and the at-risk funds that we had to deal with the budget, which was $1.1 million, as you can see. And I'll be going into that later into the budget also. Just to give a heads up, Russell County is currently, we've already done our flyovers. We are currently into the comps and the reassessment, and we're probably about 50, maybe 60% into the comps of the real estate reassessment, and it is coming in at the projected revenue, projections increases between 40 and 50%. That is still valid. Next is what we have received this year, which is one of the components of the budget that we were able to increase into the revenue stream cycle is the casinos funds, which is dedicated to public safety and education. Like I said before, we got $650,000 last year. This year we get $1.1 million. So that will be divided out. Again, the fire and rescue stayed the same. We're able to contribute to that. The Southwest Community College portion that we're obligated by law to pay, and the race program will stay in place. We also have contributed to the court operations, which includes the regular operations of the courts and the community programs and the work programs and the rest. That will stay in place. And of course, that leaves $500,000 additional that will come out of the casino funds. And during this budget model that we have developed from the budget committee, we have dedicated that additional $500,000 to the Russell County schools. As we go through the agenda and the budget, as you can see, and I'm going to switch here to this budget because this changed at 2 o'clock today. So, and it will be up on the side. So again, on the revenue side, component side, we increased on the revenue just from total property taxes. Just on the balances, we're looking at an increase between last year and this year of $265,847. And other local taxes, we're looking at an additional $212,275 in additional funding taxes too. That's not change of rates or anything. That's improvements in machine and tool. Our businesses are coming in. Our sales tax is going up. Our other taxes are doing well, and the county is too. So as we proceed through, as you see between the next one, the $420,000, this is the casino operations. This is an additional $420,000 that we got between this year and last year. And the next line item that you see, of course, that is highlighted in blue here, is the grants for the SROs at the state level. So between the increases in the revenue and the rest of their budgets, 55 departments maintaining the same or cost, other than the 3% increases for county employees, increases in the rate of inflation contractually. As I go through them, as the ones that we highlighted at the beginning between the DSSs, the regional jails, and I'll show you how those developed as during this last transition or last review of our budget. So as you look through, the first one that was coming up is, of course, the regional jail. We have projected at least $250,000 increase. Now, that was based off the real inmates that's in the jail. Based off the cost that was coming through in 23 and 24, if we applied those same daily rates of operational and debt load, we were looking at a $250,000 increase. After a lot of negotiations, a lot of phone calls, a lot of promises that we could divert other community workers, we got our numbers down to where we can balance it out and actually come in at about $12,000 less than we anticipated. So it's another $250,000 in cuts that we had not anticipated based off the previous numbers. So as we proceeded through the budget, the other numbers and looking through each line item, of course, the trash. We went from the regional jail right straight to the big numbers. Trash and disposal units and the transfer stations. As you can see right here, our actual expenditures in 23-24 came in at $1,197,761, and in this year for 24-25, it increased up to $1.599, $1.6 million. So you're looking at approximately $400,000 increase, which is a 5.2%. So we were collecting revenue, we were cutting costs, but then we hit the disposal costs, which came in at a higher rate, and that's contractual numbers based off of annual tonnage. And these numbers are estimated very close to what our annual tonnage is. It has very little room for error, or the estimates are very close. Next is the local social services foster care. So in the foster care budget for social services, we increased both to the Department of Social Services because they've had some turnover, and they've also hired some foster care coordinators, and they're doing really well on it right now. We're getting foster care families, and Ms. Dice, you can attest to that. But also at the same time into the CSA program for purchases of services, we had an increase from $263,137 to $381,000, which was a 44% increase, as you can see. So that is an estimate. Now, as our foster care program and homes come available, those can transition out and come down. As we get more foster homes in place, this number we will watch very closely on a month-to-month basis in conjunction with DSS and CSA. So that went from $882,306 to $1,020,813, which was a 15.7% increase. But again, it will go month by month. As we get more foster homes, that number will transition down. So as we proceed through the budget through the year to be able to get to these, next is the school board. Now, as everyone knows, that the school board has closed both the Swords Creek and the Coffee Creek schools. In that consolidation and working and conveying to us what they were doing and how they got to these numbers. Of course, last year we contributed $9.1 million to them. Now, when they've closed the schools, they anticipate $600,000 to $650,000 in savings from the closed school closures. They also anticipate another $400,000 to $450,000 in capital and equipment savings, which is about $1.1 million, which you'll see this number come very close here soon. We increase, based off of our projections of what we have allocated, They also had a reduction of $177,007 in debt reduction. That was the county share too. So they dropped $177 in, they paid off their principal and payments. They reduced their debt load by $177,000. But to be able to get to teachers their raises, to be able to put it to the scale that was proposed to us that before, and to be able to give the 3% to the county employees that work for the school, to be able to give the raises that was in the rate scale structure and chart, and to give to the county employees, that it went up $832,000. Now, $500,000 came from the casino money. Remember that. The $177 is out of the debt. Also, in conjunction with it, our other cost savings also transitioned into it. Our total revenue increase was $898,122. This came in as an increase of $832, was just a surplus of a little bit over $65,000. So this right here, right now, at the board's pleasure, will balance the budget. And it will, at the board's pleasure, and the school boards too, this will give the ability to give the teachers pay raise that was in the chart structures on the step up that was proposed by the school board. As we continue through to finish it out, as we can see, and the last items that are on this budget, and this has been, of course, we had some cost savings in the insurance, and we also had cost savings on our side. On our cost side, on our capital expenditures, we're finishing up the courthouse. The new courthouse has been built, okay? That was paid, was already paid for. What the construction on the old courthouse is actually being paid by federal funds. Not $1 of county funds is paying for the renovation at the old courthouse. All that work is being done is being paid by what funding that we got back from the federal government for infrastructure construction and renovation that the board of supervisors set aside to pay for that. So not $1 is going from the general funds to pay for the renovation of the old courthouse. So we were able to take those line items and cut that from $581,000 down to $85,000 on normal operations. So that's another $500,000 savings. So between the increase in the revenue and the increase in the savings of the cost cutting, we were able to look at the budget, as you can see, of $30,731,909 with a zero deficit. This is what I am proposing as the county administrator for Russell County to the board of supervisors. Any questions?
All I have to say is I hope you don't have any building maintenance issues. You sure have pulled that one down.
Yes.
And I tell you, I appreciate Lonzo and I appreciate Dr. Tucker and the school board for working with us. This is way overdue. You got to be competitive to have people to want to move here, work here, and live here. We went through a drastic situation to where we started. I don't know, and you can't blame everything on the pandemic. This should have been fixed years ago, and it takes good leadership, strong leadership, and good boards to want to come together and work together to want people to live here in Russell County, work here in Russell County, and raise their kids here, and it's because of pay, literally pay. I mean, you know, when you can drive 30 minutes and make $10,000 more in a year, we knew we had this issue when we first got elected. We tried to deal with it then, and we really didn't have the board or the personnel or the people that wanted to step up and do this. It's about our people. It's about our people. And it's about them making a decent living and living here. And everybody in this room wants our county to be the most competitive county and people to work here, live here. And we've got some exciting news coming down the pike. I think people will be thrilled as far as what's getting ready to happen. But I appreciate our teachers. They're more than a teacher, I can tell you that. I mean, I've had 3 boys go through, and I'm getting ready to give them 2 grandkids. I don't know how many teachers we'll have left once I send them boys up there, but they're more than a teacher. They love our kids. I've watched them. They're a social worker. They provide clothing and food, and they go way out of their way to do what we all take for granted. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, I've watched it. I've watched businesses help them and contribute to them and help them to make sure that our kids have every need that they need. And our teachers deserve this, and it's way overdue. Dr. Hooker, I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking this leadership role. I know we've took a lot of heat from a lot of this. But I promise everybody, once you get the pay up, you'll have people want to move here, live here, want to buy a house here. Now we got to fix the housing issue, and we're working on it to get more housing. But thank you.
I want to give Dr. Hooker a pat on the back because she pulled up her big boy britches, and she made some cuts that we've been looking to make probably for the last 8 years, I guess, and taking a real hard look at the budget. And honestly, that's the only way that she could get those teacher salaries up to where she wanted. She wanted them all in 1 year. I thought maybe we could do it over a 2 or 3 year period. But 1 year, she made enough cuts to get those teacher salaries up to where they need to be. And I will say that I would hope that if a few things go the way, I mean, we're in a good, I think we're just about ready to turn the corner on a lot of this economic development stuff. And I would hope that maybe next year we'll be in a position that we could look at making those salaries even better. And maybe through some casino money and such. So thank you, Dr. Hoover.
I'll also step on somebody. I'll also echo Steve and Peanut's comments. Outstanding job of Dr. Hooker. These teachers deserved this raise, and that's one thing that I've said for many years now. My mom was a teacher, my sister's a teacher, my wife taught in Russell County schools. I know how bad the pay is, trust me, and I know how much y'all work and the time you put in. Even after hours, after the school's closed, how much effort and time you put in, and you deserve this raise, and it's the right thing to do. And I thank you for all the hard work you've done. That can got kicked down the road for way too long, and it just took some people willing to be serious about it, make hard decisions, and I want to thank you all for that. Thank you.
Well, just to add on what the other board member has said, and when we looked at this budget and what we were looking, we didn't look at just what revenue streams or tax streams were coming in, or where we could cut costs or programs, or advocate for with different agencies to be able to work these numbers, to be able to get it into something that Russell County could live with on a balanced budget. But we also had a great opportunity, which we just had a meeting on, was economic development. Of course, we, as I have said in the meetings before, we've got, we just put one into the Tate Company, which, they're looking at 170 employees. We also just got word from the General Assembly to look at contributing to natural gas component lines down into that area, which will increase their another employment of another 180. They will have the capacity to be able to go up to that capacity, over 350 employees. But also you will see on the agenda that VDOT has also contributed additional $200,000 more to the Pure Salmon project, to $1 million towards building the road, which we're moving on this week. We also just had closed executive session. I can't go into the details, but I can tell you it's $20 million in investment and 100 jobs. And we're moving fast and furious on that too. So what we did in looking at the budget, we took the budget on what we were doing and what we could cost and what we could save, plus what was coming in place. Now, I know that in the Lebanon News, they had mentioned that we're going down to 20,000, in population by 2050 or whatever their number was, 2030, whatever. But here is the thing that can mitigate it: jobs. Jobs bring families in. Jobs bring kids in. We're right now on track. If this goes through, we are down to almost our buildings are full. Will be full, close to it, that we own. So we have great opportunities here. And, it's not going to be from the lack of effort of trying to get these things in place. And one of the first steps was to balance the budget.
I think now we've heard the presentation, we need to back and formally have a public hearing on the 6-year plan, followed up with the budget here. So,
Yes, sir.
what I'd like to do is just go ahead and open up the floor to the public hearing on the VDOT Highway 6-year plan that Jeff mentioned there. If there's anybody who would like to comment on that, feel free to come up to the podium. Anybody want to comment on the 6-year plan? Nobody wants to comment on the 6-year plan. So I'm going to formally close that public hearing and ask, I guess the board needs to vote, right? On the 6-year plan. So I'd entertain a motion to approve the 6-year plan.
I'll make a motion to approve the 6-year plan.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. There are none. Okay, now I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing on the county's 24-25 budget. Anybody who would like to comment on it, please come to the podium. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Sherry Patton. I'm from Hansonville. I had a quick question for Mr. Lester. When you started out with the expenditures and you were talking about the mandatory minimum wage, which was vetoed by the governor, you skipped the first line item that you had under there, which said it was a 26% increase in pay increase plus a 7% bonus for the board. Could you please explain that? Because it also said 8 years, and I don't know if that means 8 years from now it's going up 26 plus 7%, or if this is a jump in 1 year, or if you could explain that, please.
I can do it. That, if you look at the previous presentation that I gave, that is the raises that county employees have been given since 2015. That's what they accumulated up to and including this 3% raise.
Okay, great. Because looking at it, it looked like somebody was getting a 33% raise over the next year. And that didn't make sense.
No.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ladies first. Thank you. I'm glad to see that we have a balanced budget. I'm hoping that you can honor the library's request for additional funding, because one of the things you will have noticed is the overall increase. And even though the minimum wage was not approved for this year, we still have staff that have been negatively impacted by the minimum wage increases from the past. That, you have people that have got 20 years experience and have worked hard to get a degree to build their skills, and suddenly the people making minimum wage that may have been there for 3 years are making the same amount almost. So, toilet paper and stuff goes up, so that's part of what we had asked for in our budget request. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kelly.
I would first off like to thank the entire board, and especially Steve Breeding, David Eaton, Lonzo Lester, for working with the budget committee through the school board and Dr. Hooker and Brooke Webb. This is long overdue for the teachers to have this kind of increase. I think if you invest in the teachers, you can't go wrong. They live here, they work here, they pay taxes here, so they're invested. So any kind of money raises they get will be spent here in this county. So you cannot go wrong with that kind of investment, and I want to thank each and every one of you for making that happen. And yes, we have made cuts ourselves. I know you all couldn't come up with over $2 million to make this new pay scale happen. And kudos to Dr. Hooker for pushing this and telling us exactly what needs to be done to make this happen, this new pay scale happen. And it took a joint effort from our board to this board, and thank God we worked good together and could make this happen. And the teachers of Russell County can thank you all, along with Dr. Hooker and the school board, for making this happen. And I'm grateful to you all, and thank you so much.
Thank you, JJ.
Has the county done any impact studies?
Just your name, please.
Oh, Dana Tucker. I'm sorry, I didn't hear about this. Any impact studies on this Mall 3 project about the people that are going to leave this county? Because everybody's talking about how many people is going to be here in 2035, 2050. And you think you're going to get people coming in here? And I'm just curious if the county's done any impact studies on the amount of other counties of people that have left their property that has been sold that's still for sale decades later. Anybody? Any impact studies? Oh, you answer everybody else. You don't want to answer me on that? That's cool. Got no problem with it.
Well, it's time for public comment. We can hear.
Well, that is a public comment. You were explaining to the other people when they asked the question. I'm asking you a simple question. Has the county done an impact study on Mall 3 on the amount of people that are already leaving the county over it? No? Yes? Anybody? Come on, Luann. I know you got some integrity.
I don't think so at this time.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, look, I'm sorry. I can't say anything. I'll be back. No, I'll be back. There you go.
Anybody else? Budget, county budget? We're not. This is comments on the county. We'll do that in public comment. Okay. This is about the county budget. Does anybody else have any comments about the county budget? Once. Oh. Okay.
My name's David Dingus from Gravely. So as I can understand it, the majority of the employment in this county comes from 3 different areas. That's education, government, and law enforcement, like guards, the regional jail. Those kind of things employ quite a few people in this area. So do we have any other things in the future that are going to keep people here, that are going to keep people working aside from those areas? Because it's not just enough to have employment. Like, people have to want to stay here. They have to want to live here. They have to have reasons to live here other than a job. I can go anywhere and get a job. I stay here because I like it here. Unfortunately, I'm 45 years old, and I don't get out and do as much as I used to. It's not very conducive for young people in this area. That's why the population's dwindling. That's all the comment I have. I was just looking for a response.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else on the county budget?
Hi, I'm Angie McLaughlin from 7202 Finney Road in Honecker. I just have a question about like school vouchers. Is the county handing out school vouchers yet on charter schools? I know that it was discussed once upon a time. We're not giving the school vouchers to decrease the funding in public schools? No? Okay, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Brandon Miller. I'm a teacher here in Russell County. And I was sitting here listening to all this, and I just felt like I need to stand up and speak for the teachers. I want to look at every one of you and thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been a long time coming. And I've been doing this for 23 years, and I've been to these meetings. And quite honestly, you don't usually don't get what we are told or what we are wanting. But I had a teacher ask me the other day, "Do you think this board will do it?" And I said, "I feel different about this board. I felt different about it." And I wanted to tell you, I appreciate you. I'm sure I'm speaking for the rest of these teachers here tonight. We appreciate the hard work Dr. Hooker has put in, how she has fought for us. And this is a welcome change. I'm telling you, 23 years, this is a welcome change to have somebody that, for the first time really feels like they got your back and they appreciate what you do. Because Mr. Eaton's right. We're with these kids. We're with your kids a lot, about as much as you, maybe more than you. And I spoke at the school board meeting. I poured my heart out. I worked like crazy just trying to make ends meet. Couldn't live off my teaching salary, so I worked 3 jobs. And I'm not wanting your pity. I'll work 4 if I have to for my family. But what you have done in this budget, that's going to alleviate a lot of this pain. So on behalf of us teachers, I just wanted you to see the face of a teacher that we really thank you. And we appreciate you guys.
Anybody else on the county budget? Okay, I don't see anybody else, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public comment on the county budget. What you need now, Lonzo, is a motion to approve the budget as presented.
I've got to have a motion for a public hearing to approve the budget.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to have a public hearing to approve this budget for 2023, 2024, right?
June the 3rd at 6 p.m.
June the 3rd at 6 p.m.
Have a motion to have a second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none. June 3rd. Okay. Now we go on to our new business, and have next item is the approval of the minutes for April the 8th, 2024.
So moved.
Have a motion to approve those minutes. Have a second.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay. I need a motion to approve the minutes of April 17th, 2024.
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none. Now we need to, if you've had an opportunity to look at your list of expenditures, we need a motion to approve the expenditures as presented in the board packet.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills. I need a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
Yes, please. Are we on track with our budget currently? I know we're coming down to the end of the year, but I know we had some DSS issues.
DSS and I are working those out. They have 3 vacant positions right now, so if it is, it'll be not a major impact to the county. So, right now, we're in line with the budget.
So they have their money to finish out the year with?
Not yet. Not till we confirm the numbers.
So we're looking for June 30th.
Yes, sir.
Any additional discussion? on payment of the invoices? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none. Okay. Now, committee appointments for board consideration. Mr. Lester.
Yes, sir. Right now, at the last board meeting, we had given, Mr. Kaiser had requested that the application deadline had been extended till April the 30th. So we have been, until now, we have still been accepted the ones that have come through to give everyone an opportunity. I put that list into your comprehensive list and applications. That's in your separate packet. That way you've got the comprehensive list. So the next meetings, we need to start filling the positions. So you've got the applications, the ones that are final, the extension that Mr. Kaiser had requested, and you've got the applications themselves. So please review them and we'll start filling the agenda, and we'll start filling these committees and boards.
Okay. Now we come to the citizens' comment period. So I have the list here, and I'm going to take them just as they've been written down here. And I'll remind you that you have 3 minutes in which to speak. So Josh Burgess.
Josh Burgess, 1857 Orchard Road, Southwest Virginia. I just want to speak from experience that I've had. This has to do with the Moss 3 landfill. I very much oppose it, and I still hadn't met anybody that's for it. I work in the rail industry, so I have personally seen where this trash is coming from, the facilities that it's loaded at. And some of the information has been given to us that this trash is properly screened with a fine-tooth comb and all that. It's not. There's a man in an end loader that is loading this trash out of a building that is so overpacked with trash that the sides are busting out of it. And the main thing that he is looking for is bodies and body parts. If you load a body or body part in a rail car, it gets shipped across country. You make national news. That's what they're going to avoid. And speaking on that, before I would introduce a landfill or any situation to the public, I would maybe visit the communities that those things affect. Talk to the people. You're not going to get the answers from the business owners. You need to get out in the communities and see how it affects the people. And what y'all preach about is the people. And the people of Russell County matter. And I've said it many times, the biggest asset Russell County has is its people. And I'd do anything I could to keep them here. Introducing a mega landfill is not the route to take. And I'll talk about my situation a little bit. My job affords me the opportunity to live in 25 different states and still sleep in my own bed at night. Who has that option? Not many people. But I choose my bed, Russell County. And it is in Cleveland, Virginia. And I've traveled the majority of the U.S. for work, vacation, and I have never seen a place like Russell County. I'm proud to call it home. I am. And there's talk that always comes up. You get into these landfill conversations about lawsuits. You know, if they don't get their way, they may sue us. I just asked the board not to put the county in a situation by getting into business with someone who would potentially sue you if they didn't get their way. That is not the way to do business. That's not a good relationship to have. To always be looking over your shoulder for a lawsuit if somebody didn't get their way. Another thing, at the informational hearing with Ernie Hulk, Mr. Matney sat right over here, and I personally asked him if this landfill was voted down, would he sue the board, Russell County, or anybody associated with it? And the man said no, there'd be no lawsuit, and that is on record. And talk about your budget. I'm proud that you've got the budget balanced. I really am. And I hope that those are real numbers. And I'm glad to see it. It's a big relief. One thing I believe in is being self-sufficient. And is that my buzzer?
No.
But anyway, okay. But anyways, self-sufficient. And that's a big part of what's wrong with the country is people aren't self-sufficient anymore. You talk about your grocery bills and all that. One thing that is linked to is nobody raises a garden anymore. Who in here knows how to kill hogs? If you can be self-sufficient, then nothing will bring you down. You'll make it through anything. And I ask this board to be self-sufficient. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Depend on a landfill. That landfill will come and it will go. And then where will you be? You'll be looking for another crutch to lean on. And I think if you're looking for business investors, you need to look within the county because they're here. I can tell you that our local banks depend on Russell County and Buchanan County deposits to expand their business in other areas. So the money's here. And we'll save that for a later date. And I appreciate every one of y'all. And no landfill. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Tim Prater.
Mr. Chairman, I've got some information from the board members. I'm going to pass that to them.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm Tim Prater from Grundy, representing, I'm Director of Clinch Independent Living Services. We serve 4 counties, Buchanan, Dickinson, Russell, and Tazewell. There's 17 independent living centers across the state of Virginia. Every county has an independent living center serving them. We are one of the widest areas serving for, of course, you all know how long it takes to drive anywhere. I would appreciate you letting me speak to that. Just a couple minutes. You all can read the information yourself. I'll just kind of break it down in simple terms of how much we are spending in Russell County. We've got an office in Grundy, we've got an office in Tazewell. And our office in Grundy, the back page tells you just the mileage we put in coming over here. From Grundy to Castlewood is 100 miles round trip. Castlewood, the Grundy office serves the educational part of our company. We assist students with disabilities. That can be a learning disability. That can be a physical disability. Russell County, we always have more students in Russell County than any other county. Right now, we currently serve about 50 students in Russell County. The biggest thing we do is student driving, tutoring lessons so they can get their learner's permits. Without learner's permit and driver's license, you can't work or go to school. And in our youth transition program, we try to help students when they go to Southwest or any other local school. We can assist them. We can be advocates for them and make sure the college is aware of their disability. Russell County schools are just it is the best county that we work in for is special ed department. Castlewood, Honaker, and Lebanon are just exceptional. And we appreciate them letting us come into schools, assisting them. Our Tazewell office takes care of all the other needs, accessible ramps, walk-in showers, physical disability type things, lift chairs. I've got 6 or 7 categories. You can read it for yourself and save some time. And Tazewell, once again, Tazewell to Castlewood's a 104-mile round trip. Lebanon's 80-mile round trip. Honaker's 66. So we spend about $4,000 to $5,000 just in mileage alone. And then you see the other categories I have. We average building about 20 ramps a year in Russell County. Our main goal is called Independent Living Center because we try to make sure individuals can remain independent in their home, not have to go to nursing home because they can't get down steps or something like that, or widening a door if they're a wheelchair, amputees. So you can see we spend about $32,000 a year just in ramps in Russell County. One great big asset, and I'm sure there's probably some people behind me, Rosedale Baptist Church builds about all of our ramps. Those are just great men that will volunteer. We call them up, say, hey, we got a ramp that needs to be built. 5 to 7 days, those guys build them. They build about 20 ramps a year for us. If we had to pay for that, that saves us probably $30,000 to $40,000 in labor costs. So we'd be building 10 ramps instead of 20. So a big shout out to Rosedale Baptist, and like I say, big shout out to Russell County Schools. Those are two great partners we have. We have a board of directors, and we have two people on our board of directors from Russell County. They're both special ed teachers. Marlene Boyd teaches at Homeacre currently. Celeste Rutherford, a retired teacher from Lebanon. And they're two great board members. They represent Russell County well on our board, and we're proud to have them. But the final, like I say, you all will discuss this later. The final number on the back just tells you, add all the stuff up. I kind of break it down to give you an idea where we're spending our money at over here. But this year and last year, we're spending roughly $50,000 in Russell County. And Buchanan County gives us $25,000 a year. That's mostly to, we got an office in Buchanan County. They also provide us free rent at one of the government buildings, which saves us another $20,000. Tazewell County gives us $13,000. So I'm here tonight. I want you all to look at this information, discuss it with yourself. If you see fit that these services are good, we're helping a lot of people. We have more consumers in Russell County because, y'all do have a lot more population in Buchanan, Dixon, and Tazewell. So I think currently we have about 110 consumers from Russell County, about 45, 50 students, and 50, 60, people with disabilities, physical disabilities mainly. But just asking for a financial donation, some help if you can. And I know how budgets are. I've been on school boards, served on school boards.
Yes, sir. You can finish it.
Yeah. So I know money's tight, but any donation you can help us with our costs, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Angie McLaughlin. Angie.
Okay, I'm here to talk today about the Moss 3 landfill project. I'm asking the board one more time, probably not the last time, but please don't go through with this. Don't approve the host agreement. Don't do anything at all that would make this a reality. Because if this landfill continues, then it's too late when we've got like 6,000 tons of garbage being dumped in our mountains every day, when we've got 200 or more trucks overflowing with trash, traveling down Cleveland's curvy roads that become even more hazardous with snow and rain, when train cars filled with trash are leaking sludge along our rivers and land, and our tax money will have to maintain those miles of roadways, made more costly by the high volume of traffic to benefit Nova Company. It's too late when the Board of Supervisors has to build a new water treatment plant with their tax dollars just to accommodate one company. It's too late if we lose tax revenue because of the adverse effects that this will have on property values, when we can't even buy insurance because of our close proximity to this dangerous industry, when the 60 mil liners that cannot leak actually do and spill leachate into our soil and groundwater, when we can't use our wells and springs, when the fish aren't safe to eat, when the livestock are poisoned, when we can't trust the foods from our gardens. Also, when we can't breathe because of the toxic air. Check out Bristol. People can't breathe outside or inside their homes with the stench and irritation to their eyes and throat. I was wondering if, since we are completely protected with fire and rescue by volunteers, if this comes in, is the county going to have to get a paid fire department to have people who are trained to take care of any problems that they might have down there? It's too late when our babies are born with low birth weight, all kinds of birth defects and neurological disorders, when our children start getting leukemia, when our family members become ill with respiratory illnesses, asthma, heart disease, and all varieties of cancer. It's too late when the fly ash is used to cover the waste It's radioactive and contains mercury and arsenic, which is the same arsenic that's in the gob that we've been trying to have removed. Leave the gob, say no to the landfill. I'd rather deal with the devil I know than the devil I don't. Anyway, I'm just asking, please say no.
Thank you, Angie. Amy Branson.
Good evening. Amy Branson, The Flats, Virginia. I messaged all the board members except for Rebecca, who doesn't have social media, to ask them what projects and accomplishments that they are most proud of since they have been on the board. We have 3 new members, so we're going to give them a pass because they haven't had much time to make their list of good deeds yet. I didn't get any examples from our more senior board members except for Luann, but I only asked them yesterday. Ms. Wallace provided me with a podcast that she did that explains her legacy is improving St. Paul, Daint, and her community through facilitating partnerships with other local agencies who want to revive Appalachia through tourism and small business. And that's what we've discussed in our budget, that small business would help us here. The small businesses would contribute. The small businesses would sponsor your kids' team, their T-ball team. As people, we all think about, what will people say about me once I'm gone? What will my obituary say? How will I be remembered? After my dad passed away, people told a lot of good stories about him, and people felt connected and kindred to me through him. Dad was also known to have less than ideal livestock fencing, and for many years, I received multiple telephone calls from animal control and neighbors about loose livestock, even though they weren't mine. My dad set a precedence that I had to live with that took many years and telephone calls to shed. Those aren't my cows. All of you who have children and grandchildren and people who love you and live here with you in this county want to be here. How will it make you feel if you're influenced by a few rich men to support their get-richer scheme at such a huge cost to the rest of the people who actually live here with you? Will you be able to look us in the eye at these meetings, at church, in the grocery store? Will your children and grandchildren be associated with your decision, and will they stand behind you and be proud of your decision? Will you be proud of yourself? Will this be a decision to add to the list of accomplishments or a failure of epic health and environmental consequences? I plead with you to protect the citizens, your family, and our homes. To quote Benjamin Franklin, it takes many good deeds to build a good reputation, and only one bad one to lose it. Will you allow this one vote for a private landfill to erase all the good that you've done? And that's all I have, except for if you scroll down on Article 3 there. Mr. Lester. One more scroll. Thank you. There's an inaccuracy there that conflicts the Virginia code that needs to be looked at between A and B. You have to give us the agenda packets at the same time that the board gets those. That's section G. I'm sure you probably want to make note of this, even though it's time. 2.2-3707. Thank you.
Sharon Stiltner.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for the wonderful job that you do for our county. My name is Sharon Stiltner. I am a real estate broker in Lebanon and have been selling real estate for 35 years. As a real estate broker, I feel that the proposed landfill could negatively affect the population growth and therefore cause the property values to decline. Property values are driven by supply and demand. And if we do not have the demand, a positive demand, the values will decline. And is that fair to our citizens? I base my opinion on this fact. I've had 2 out-of-state buyers in the past month that, after learning of the landfill project, have decided to hold off buying until they see the outcome of the project. I feel our beautiful county has potential for safer and more rewarding growth. I ask that you reconsider the recommendation and approval of this landfill. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. RD.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to members of the board, Mr. Lester, Mr. Wampler, in this case tonight. We say no to Mouse 3 Landfill Group, or not just saying no. We've been doing an enormous amount of research, and we would like to respectfully offer you and the RCR Group viable, profitable alternatives. We would like to discuss this property being used for a national ATV motocross site, along with major hiking, biking, horse riding, and so forth. This could be a tremendous income to the county as well as to property owners. We know there are some 17 rare earth minerals on the property in the gob that has the potential to be very profitable, and we know currently that the Department of Defense and the Department of Energy are currently engaged in experiments to effectively extract these precious minerals. We know these minerals are largely purchased from China currently, and the Department of Defense and the Department of Energy have placed a high priority in getting these rare minerals from within gob piles from the United States. We know that Virginia Tech is involved in this research as well. So DOD and the Department of Energy are very interested in gob piles, no matter where they are in the USA. It's a huge thing. We know that is going to be a very profitable situation. And we also know that potentially with regard to mining, of course, there's an awful lot of water that could possibly be repurposed and sold by the county. We have experts who are knowledgeable about these matters, and we would like our team to meet with you and RCR. We know how involved Ms. Wallace has been and is involved in the efforts of tourism. So we would respectfully like her to be one of the board members who assist in getting a meeting with RCR, as well as Ms. Wallace, presumably the chairman being in the meeting, both Ms. Wallace and the chairman being in the meeting, if you like, and we would appreciate you getting this meeting set up. Let's see if we can't work together for better use and solutions for this property and make it work for our citizens, our county, and indeed our country. We have what we believe to be a unique opportunity to work together to find better, more viable solutions for this property. We respectfully request a meeting, if at all possible, within the next couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Artie. Betty Dickinson. Okay. Thank you.
This is a copy of those are copies of a 2005 state report entitled The Recreational Development Potential of the Clinch River Valley in Russell County. I urge you all to read this. It's still a roadmap for success for this county. Every month since we've learned about this landfill proposal, this board has heard from the people. Citizens have attended your meetings, made personal pleas, presented to this board hard scientific evidence as to why the board should vote no to a host agreement. You've been given several alternatives that would increase county revenue and not harm us or our environment. I won't repeat those tonight. We're told some of you all have been threatened. Do you not realize you're threatening us? This landfill proposal is a direct threat to all of us. Did you think we would accept whatever you decide and not say anything? C.S. Lewis said integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Our Are host fees worth the ruination of people's lives? Is that following the golden rule? If you board members lived in South Clinchfield, would you want a mega landfill within sight and sound of your front door? If you lived a little further out, beyond the awful sight, would you want to breathe in the landfill pollution and wonder if that's what made you or a family member sick? Would you want to worry about when that leachate will seep into your water supply? What if you decide, as many will, to sell and just get out of here? Would you want to have no choice but to accept a fraction of your property's former value, if a buyer can even be found? If you lived along the roads and railway routes, would you want 6 tons of garbage going by your place every day? Put yourself in our place. I'll end with this, a reading from Matthew chapter 22, verses 37 through 40. Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these 2 commandments hang on the law and the prophets."
Thank you, Debbie. Jackie Yates.
Yeah, Jackie from Rosedale, Virginia. Well, that's a lot I'd like to say, but it's probably something I shouldn't say. But we finally quit the trash service. We give it up. This county is not for the small business people. And it don't get no smaller than what we was. There was 2 of us that started with nothing. It's not for the small people. I promise you that. Out of the 5.5 years that we've done it, only 1 or 2 of y'all ever returned my phone calls. Very few. I ain't gonna call out the good, because then I'd have to call out the evil. You know who you are, and I appreciate the ones that did. And I don't want to thank the ones that didn't. There's a lot of things happened in that 5.5 years. You know, we voted on things, we agreed on things, and we change it. The next couple of days, we call people in, "No, we can't do that." Well, we thought we was. No, we can't. It ain't fair. But, I mean, what is fair about it? If we have a litter control officer in this county, which I was told we did, he ain't doing his job. I can promise you that. By no means. There's people picking up trash right now that don't pay y'all $500 a year like we was to haul trash. Every bag we hauled was 1 less bag y'all had to haul. But we had to pay y'all to do it. None of that made sense. There's people right now picking trash up that don't have permits. So he ain't doing his job. The only other thing I really want to say is the people that bought us out, I don't want y'all to do them as good as you did us. I want you to do them better. Because there are people out there that need this service. There's some out there just too sorry to get out of bed. They don't even know when the dump's open. Don't care. But there's 53 people out of the 178 that I give this guy that need this service. And just like I said, don't do him as good as you did me. Do him better. That way he can stay. He has other sources of income and he wants to do good. That's about it. And one other thing, these boxes that y'all making people break down at the convenience sites to put in a special bin, to take that special bin to put with the trash, please stop that. It ain't convenient for everybody. One day we all want to grow old. You got handicapped people out there in wheelchairs trying to break down a box to put in a special bin, to take it up there and put it on the floor with all the other trash. At least pick who you want to flatten a box and who you don't. Let's take care of the elderly, okay? They've been here for a long time. They're the ones that know y'all. Young people don't even know y'all. You ask them who's on their board, they don't know. I don't have a clue. It's the old people that know y'all. So take care of them, and I go out that door tonight, I'll never be back, because it ain't going to get better. I don't see it getting better. There's some good and some bad, but it just ain't. It ain't working for me in Russell County. So I'm done with it. I'm out of here. Wish y'all the best, all of you. But the odds are against you. They 7 up there for a reason, so it can't be a tie. Only takes 4 bad ones. So I thank you. I said, just be good to this other guy. Be better than you was. Be better to him you was me. Maybe he'll stay another 5 years. Every bag he hauls is one less bag y'all don't have to haul. That's saving you money. Okay.
Thank you, Jake. Tammy Garrett.
Good evening. I'm Tammy Garrett from Lebanon. First of all, I want to say that I'm happy for our teachers here in Russell County. They deserve and they earn every penny that they get. And I'm very happy for them, and I fully support our public school systems and public education. The other thing I want to say is Ms. Branson mentioned that she wondered how you all were going to look us in the eye in the future. And I've just been sitting here watching while everybody spoke about the landfill. And what I've noticed is that most of you are not looking us in the eye now. So that's just something to think about. I want to start by saying the landfill is not the answer to Russell County's problems. We need to stop laying the blame on others for the past and complaining about what others have done and others who have been in your seats and even higher up in government. We need to start making decisions about the future. This is not a party issue. This is an issue that has brought all of Russell County together. And all of the county is in opposition to this landfill. An inspector at MSHA has told us that this site is full of problems, including 10 feet of water currently sitting there, and it cannot pull water in order for the bond to be released. Engineers have stated that the required gravity-fed leachate pipe system will be nearly impossible to install. If it manages to be approved by all the regulatory offices, DEQ, MSHA, DMME, it could take up to 10 years for it to even be approved. So this is not a solution to our problem. We're going to have to face financial problems way before we know that this landfill is going to be approved. Who's going to pay the $500 million that RCR has touted that they're going to put into this? At this time, RCR has invested very little of its own money into this site. We still have to pay for all the engineering surveys and testing that has to be approved. So in fact, probably Russell County taxpayers will directly or indirectly pay for this private landfill. And we know that's coming. And then we're going to have to suffer the consequences. I'm asking you all to stand up for us. Stand up for the future of Russell County. Stand up for our children and our grandchildren. They should not have to bear the burdens for this decision. And those burdens are surely going to come. We know that from researching landfills. They're going to come financially, physically, and environmentally. And the last thing I have to say is I hope that your exciting news is there is not going to be a landfill in Russell County.
Sherry Patton.
Hello, Sherry Patton, Hansonville, and I want to apologize in advance. I thought that the library closed a little bit later than it did, and I was going to have copies for everybody, but my bad. So something that I noticed that I thought was kind of interesting is that Mr. Matney has his house on the market for $7.5 million. He lives 6.8 miles from the Bristol landfill. And I wonder if that has any reason to do with why he wants to sell. And when we think about Carbo and how far Cleveland is and Carbo is, you know, like I said, I live in Hansonville. So for me to get to Carbo, I got to come into Lebanon and then go up to Cleveland and then over to Carbo. And it's, 16, 17, 18 miles, something like that. But when you look at it as the crow flies, there's a whole lot of us who are within 6 miles. And 6 miles is kind of the minimum that we need to be looking at as to who is going to be smelling. And face it, if you can smell the stench, all of those plastics and toxins are getting into our bodies. And everybody has already told y'all, cows are going to die, kids are going to get sick, older people are going to get cancer. This is just a disaster. So I just kind of wanted to give y'all a visual. And again, I'm sorry I don't have an actual photocopy for you to look at. But this is, the western part of eastern part of Russell County. So Lebanon's down here. Here is Carbo. Can you see Miss Wallace? Kind of, sort of.
I'm using the 2005.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, so with that as the center point and doing a 6 miles as the crow flies radius, it's coming right by Daint, definitely by St. Paul, in through Castlewood, down and around and up through Lebanon. You've got 12 miles of the clinch that's going to be affected by this landfill. And so all that work that people have done to get a state park there, it is going to be all for naught. But, you might want to pass this around if you want to, and you can figure out where your own house is in relation if you look at it as the crow flies. But, RD came up with some good ideas for what we could do outside of the landfill.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, thank you. So, y'all have a real opportunity here to be the knights in shining armor, riding in on the white horse and saying, you know what, this is a bad idea for everybody in Russell County. And we're going to work to find alternate methods which will actually employ people and make people want to come here. Because it's not going to be just jobs. Best jobs in the world, people aren't going to come in and you're talking about their kids coming in. If they think their kids are going to get sick because of the proximity of a landfill, they're not coming. They will take a $10,000 pay cut and go someplace else where they're safe. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Philip Addington.
Philip Addington from Castlewood. I'm going to take a break from the landfill. I appreciate everybody's comments out here. I appreciate the work that the No Moss Group has done. I appreciate the thankless jobs that you guys do. I appreciate the thankless job the school board does and having the courage to do what needed to be done. That being said, I'm here to talk about the Russell County Planning Commission. Seems like it's been an ongoing topic here for many months. It was brought up, the Russell County Planning Commission, that you guys want to reorganize every commission, every board, every committee. So I guess you guys got ahead of that, and I was approached. I'm on the Planning Commission. I'm not here representing the Planning Commission. I'm here representing me and my personal feelings. So I was approached. The state code says that a Planning Commission must be 5 members. We have 8. Also, in saying that, I want to thank the members who have worked to cut taxes on our citizens. That's my money. I've been told, some people think, well, $100 here is nothing. Well, guess what? $100 for 20 plus years is over $24,000 that somebody made sitting on the Planning Commission, which has turned into a thankless job itself. The zoning in Russell County does not exist. The Planning Commission is governed by Virginia State Code and regulations passed. And so when somebody comes in and they've got something they want to have looked at, we just look and say it falls within the regulations or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, we recommend to the citizens what they need to do to bring it into the regulations so that we can recommend to the Board of Supervisors to pass whatever they're asking. So we cut the membership down from 8 to 5 members. In January of this year, the Planning Commission elected new officers, a new chairman, a new secretary. I was put in as secretary and a new vice chair. So that's 3 officers that were just put in. We thought, well, let's keep those. And this wasn't just my decision. I talked to the new chairman about this as well. I think I may have been the only one that talked to board members. But anyway, so Then we had those 3 members. We had a board of supervisors representative, so that makes 4. That left 1 member. You know, back in December, November, there was a planning commission member change. No reason was given. Nobody said anything about it. It was just done. Mark Mitchell, who had been on there for years doing a fine job as chairman, was just removed and somebody was brought in. So what we did was kept the newest member that was just brought in. So there's your 5 members. Nothing political. And the planning commission serves the whole county. It's not like this member's taking care of his district and this member's taking care of his district. We look over the whole county. Another thing about that is, guess what? Every new member has the right to vote. There's nothing in Virginia State Code that says that somebody has to be certified, somebody has to be trained. So the information that was given out at the last board meeting, incorrect. If you're put on the planning commission, you have the right to vote day 1 when you walk in the door. I'm getting old and forgetful. Also, there is a county employee, one of the best employees in this county that does the workload for the planning commission. I'm not going to name her here this evening, but she sets the table, she does the work. When a citizen comes in with a request that would go to the planning commission, they talk to her. She's been doing it for years. Guess what? That's a thankless job. She was kind of maligned here, maybe not intentionally, but she's not certified. And the planning commission thought, well, if she's the face of the planning commission, she's the one that everybody needs to talk to, she ought to be certified so that when any question arises, she knows exactly what's going on. She already knows exactly what's going on. But it's just like some people think a little piece of paper gives them a little more authority. So that's what the planning commission was trying to do with that. And 30 seconds. I really want to thank the school board again for what they did. It took courage to close those schools. They needed to be closed years ago. And for one more thing, every parent that's already taken their kids to St. Paul and every parent that says, I'm leaving this county with my kids, when they start to close Castlewood High School, don't go looking at the board. Look at everybody that took their kids out of this county. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Dave Cheek.
Good afternoon. Thank you for letting me come up and talk today. My name's Dave Cheek, River Mountain Road, Lebanon, Virginia. I wanted to talk a little bit today about something that's kind of different as far as the landfill goes. Kind of approaching from a common sense standpoint and things that I've run across a lot in my career as an engineer, building things and seeing things happen. I know it's a tough decision on all of y'all. I know you're under a lot of pressure. I'm sure that, I can imagine, I know how things like this have gone in other places I've been involved in, and that's to go ahead and make your vote, get out in the middle, let the experts deal with it. Okay, you can point to DEQ, you can point to Podesta, and let this thing go. But as we think about that, I really want to approach that during the discussion this afternoon. Something that's really bothered me. And, I know the teachers are here, and I'm glad to see this because I kind of have a Davism that says happiness is proportional to homework. You see somebody does their homework, they're going to do well. And that's what's keeping me up kind of on this landfill. This is another landfill that's being permitted in the state of Virginia. This is what's called a notice of intent. This is what goes to the DEQ that has a lot of information in it that they use to start the ball rolling. This is a notice of intent that was filed by the guys looking at this landfill. Okay. And when we looked at that, when we went to the meeting, it was like, I came out of it, I told people, they're not serious. It's not a legitimate business. I don't know what the game is, but this is not it. But anyway, of course, DEQ rejected it. They gave it an F right out of the box and sent it back. But this is... and we all know the quality and the depth of the Podesta report that we got and how that's kind of sitting with us. And the question that keeps bothering me about this, because like I said, I've done requested a lot of PERs and had a lot of things come in, look at projects, is that why in the world would they cut so many corners at this point? Why would they do that to us? And, you know, at the March 8th meeting, I asked the special counsel, when they filed this little piece of paper, did that start some kind of a timer? Did it start something with this project that we don't know about? And his answer was no, it did not. And so, okay. And so, I mean, surely these guys, I mean, they've been around, as they told us in there, they've done a lot of landfills, so they're not as dense as a box of rocks. Did they think that, you know, we don't know, maybe they think we're not very smart here? I don't know, that we can't read. But only one thing starts to make sense as you look at this. You look at how things are going right now, and that is, do they think that they're going to be able to get this thing through without doing this homework, without putting this to you, okay, without giving you the information you need to make a good decision? And, you know, obviously you don't have the authority to, you know, tell them 30 seconds, all right, get on through with it. And I'm hoping that no one has given them the idea that this project could be fast-tracked, you know, but you can't. But someone above you or someone has this authority, I sure hope not. I hope not for your sake, because that'd be a terrible thing to occur. And with this, you know, I know you've been told to get out of the middle of this, possibly, if you go ahead and approve it, to be pointed to others. I've done my homework, you know that. I've looked at other landfills. I've studied minutes. I've studied citizen comments. I've talked to people. You don't get out of the middle. It's going to be there. I'm wrapping this thing up. And like I said, I can plainly see the poor quality of TRC and Podesta. And Podesta is a company that the county's hired to protect our interests, protect our children, to make sure this thing's done correctly. And I just got one question for you. Honestly, would any of you here hire either of these companies to put a roof on your house? Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Jared Green.
Good evening, Jared Ring, Castlewood, Virginia. The expenditures of institutions tend to scale upwards proportional to the amount of income available to them. And what I mean by that is that if this landfill is established, the government of this county will become dependent on the funds from it. When the first cell of it fills up, the county will be in no position to say no to an expansion. The developers of this landfill are also prolific political donors. We'll never have anything resembling a fair election again in this county under the influence of those donations if this landfill goes in. Trash will become a primary industry of this county. Future generations will be relegated to the janitors of larger cities. The jobs will be low-paying and, frankly, demeaning. Our brightest and most diligent children will simply leave. No one's first choice is to work in waste. Now, I don't mean that as a slight to anyone that does. Who's going to be left in this county when it's inundated with garbage? Who in their right mind would raise a family around a landfill of that size? What happens when young people go elsewhere to have families? What happens to our schools when parents move their children away from something rightly viewed as a health hazard? Who in their right mind would move next to the trash capital of Appalachia that this will become instead of one of the surrounding counties? Many people who already own property here don't even see enough value in this county to bother maintaining those buildings. I've warned in the past that we're heading for a population crash, and a landfill will only serve to exacerbate the image of this place that has been one of the causes of that. This landfill is nothing short of a slap in the face to everyone that's ever worked at building this place. It's a blatant dismissal of the work of everyone that's ever sank a shovel into building a trail for tourism, educated one of the children that will leave, or dragged a tire out of the clinch. It wrongs the workers of the past and the families of the future. The budget needs of the present are pale justification for the wholesale slaughter of the future. It was Thomas Paine who said, "If there must be trouble, let it be in my day, that my children may have peace." This landfill shifts that trouble 15 years into the future onto those children. Make no mistake, the choice before you is comparatively short-term money or gradual growth into a bright future. For those of you that have willfully enabled this project, I ask you to say no, and I can only express my contempt and profound disappointment that it has come this far. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. Tim Wallace.
Tim Wallace, Cleveland, Virginia. I'll have to say that's a tough act to follow. It's a good talk. I worked in the coal business for 44 years. Worked for companies that have been in charge of this site. The thing that bothers me most about this proposed landfill is this. Mr. Lester mentioned that I think it's been reported there's 110 million tons of refuse rock that's placed in that area. A young fellow from Sierra Club came and said that there's not a landfill liner that doesn't leak. You just think about the possibilities of a liner under this thing leaking and where it's going to go. 110 million tons of refuse rock's been put there since 1959. After the bond money is gone trying to fix it, after the governor's money is gone trying to fix it, who's going to be responsible after the company that started this goes bankrupt? Who's going to be responsible for fixing it? There's no fixing it if this thing leaks. You're going to have leachate going into Dumps Creek. You're going to have leachate going into the Clinch. Recently, the EPA has changed their regulations on a couple of chemicals that come from leachate that cannot exist in public water systems down to 4 parts per trillion. That's a big number. I've questioned, and Dave Cheek has questioned, that somebody's got a machine that can actually test something to 4 parts per trillion. So these public water sources check their water for these chemicals once a year. Well, let's say they check in January, and all of a sudden that chemical shows up in February, and the people in that area is going to be drinking that water till the next January when it's checked again. EPA gives 4 years for this county or this municipality to fix that problem. Well, how are they going to fix it? They have no way to fix it. They're going to look at the people that put the landfill in or the county that's responsible to fix it, and that may fall back on Russell County. So that's one thing I want you to think about before you might vote to put this in. That's a big problem to fix that I don't want this county to face, and I don't want our citizens to face. I got a good friend that lives in Shotgun Hollow, about a mile away from this landfill, downwind of this landfill. Tried to sell his place, talked to a realtor. She told him he would have to disclose to the prospective buyer that this landfill might be going in. And he looked at me and he said, there's no reason for me to go on. Nobody's going to buy this. I can't leave. People that can't afford to leave and leave their place and not get anything for it are going to be stuck.
30 seconds.
The daughter worked at Bristol, Virginia City Schools for the last 10 years. There were days when those middle schoolers had to sit in that school, all windows shut, all doors shut, and smell the smell from the landfill at Bristol. There was no getting away from it. Sit there all day and try to study. I don't want that for our citizens or our children. I'd ask you please to vote no on this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hunter Gray.
Everyone, my name's Hunter Gray. I'm new to the area. I moved up here back in December. I'm a combat veteran. It's 100% disabled. I came up here for fresh mountain air and peace, not big city trash. And everyone here with me, I appreciate you all coming to fight against this landfill. I don't have trash, city trash. I got to burn my trash or haul it off. Yet you guys want to bring trash from New York City, my own backyard. The Clinch River is where I get my natural water from to drink. All right? Sorry, I'm really frustrated. It's hard for me to get these words out. Russell County does not have lots of restaurants, shopping, entertainment for kids, or tourism is strictly the mountains, great fishing, hiking, camping. If they could smell this from the pollution, you're going to take all our tourism away. There's going to be nothing left Russell County be nothing but a place you drive by and roll up the window. No one's going to want to be here. You can see how frustrated I am about this. I would have gave my life for this country, and yet you guys are possibly going to poison me and poison other civilians here with this landfill. I forgot everything I was going to say because I'm just so heated right now. And I just beg you guys, think about this, what you guys are doing to veterans like myself and everyone else in this room. We won't be able to sell. We're going to be paying the price for it. We're never going to be able to come back from this. I'm being honest, sincere. This is a huge deal. And I really came prepared. I thought I did, and I forgot everything. So I just beg of you, please, guys, think twice about this. And thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. David Dingus.
My name is David Dingus. I'm from Gravel Lick. Most of you guys have heard me speak before. I wanted to speak to you guys a little bit about something called planned obsolescence. You familiar with that term? If you own a car, you should be. It means that we purposely make things that fail. There's a light bulb right now that's been burning for years and years and years. And the company decided, well, we don't make money off of that. We'll make our light bulbs less effective so that we can sell more light bulbs. And I don't care how much you are guaranteed that liners won't leak. Somewhere, somebody is selling more liners. Okay? Now, I've told you guys about my daughter's health condition, and what I have is what she's got. And I would very much like 15 years from now, I hope her health condition's better. But if not, I would very much like for her not to be dealing with a health condition and the smell of the landfill. Young man, Hunter, thank you for your service. Thank you for coming up here and speaking. I appreciate you very much. I can see that you're emotional. I'm emotional about this too, so I appreciate you speaking. Most of us here, anybody here want this landfill to come in? Nope. No one. Never has been. How many, by show of hands, how many of you are registered voters? Well, I think that should speak loud and clear to the board. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Gary Hughes.
I live right beside the Clinch River, and I actually drink Clinch River water. It comes out of Tazewell County. I asked the IDA about the pad that the landfill is going to be sitting on, and they told me that that was a Board of Supervisors question. So, do you have an answer if the pad is solid as they say it is, or does anybody know? Okay. What's the chance of those people expanding the landfill on down the road after this one fills up? This is a super bad idea. Your soil conditions are terrible. You need clay soil, not this type of soil. Too close to the Clinch River. You're not thinking about people down below St. Paul all the way into Tennessee. This stuff can ruin a lot of people. Please, for God's sakes, don't vote for this landfill. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jennifer?
Good afternoon, guys. Jennifer Chumbley, Cleveland, Virginia. I didn't get time to prepare tonight because my mother's in ICU with terminal cancer and pneumonia from environmental issues already because it don't run in my family. So one thing I wanted to mention is that, you know, when my children go to other states hunting, like Colorado, let's say, they're not even allowed to bring the carcass back if they kill an elk. They have to butcher that animal in that state, and it can't come back across state lines, right? And that's for reasons to keep disease down in our wonderful state of Virginia. However, you can put that in trash and bring it back. You can put that carcass and bring it right across the state line with no repercussions. And I think, you know, our animals, our farm animals, we need to think about that. What diseases could be carried back in this trash if it was to come into here? Not just for our homes, our families, our children, but our animals as well. I like what Angie said, the gob is the devil we do know. You know, everybody wants to talk about this gob. I've lived there for most of my life, and I'm well aware of it. Dumps Creek runs onto my property. And we can tell when the water is clean, when it is straightening out itself. It was doing that until recently. Now you can drive through there. Now that they're hauling gob out again, the creek is affected again. It is getting polluted again. There is dust on the road again. There is noise. Count this as my official complaint, that there is already noise there that we have to deal with every day. You know, we moved to the country to live on a farm to not deal with noise of the cities, not to deal with the backup beepers and the pounding of trucks and things like that. We've done that once. Once this closed down, we didn't expect it to come back. But it's going to come back, and it's going to come back with force if this landfill goes in. Dave Cheek mentioned that fast-tracking this, it will not be fast-tracked. There is no fast-tracking this landfill to make this a budgetary thing for Russell County. We alone can hold it up for years with DEQ. There's no way to fast-track this. We've talked to realtors. I've talked to realtors about my property. We already, as you know, have to disclose that there is a possible landfill coming into this area. We already are losing value on our properties as we sit right now today. So the faster we can get this over with and say no to this horrific idea, the better off we'll be.
30 seconds.
Thank you. I mentioned the noise is already bothersome. I still cannot see any good benefit. I'm still going to stand no matter what anybody thinks and speak for the people of Cleveland, speak for our area, speak for Russell County, and please vote no to any host agreement. Thank you.
Jeremiah Neal.
Jeremiah Neal, Cleveland, Virginia. I can't stand up here and repeat what everybody said. Y'all done heard it all. But y'all talk about cutting money. We're elected officials. I'd like to see everybody be a pro bono elected official. Cut the monthly. I'm a pro bono. The reason I got into that was to stop corrupt politics, so to speak. So here, I don't know, just guessing $5,000 a month at least with some board members, not counting lawyers and such. So there's an option. They brought up plenty of great options. The ATV trails, everybody goes to St. Paul and rides the trails all the way to Coburn, connected easily. The landfill has no answers for any solution, no good to become of it. I would like anybody that votes for it, I think we should band together and ride them out of town on a rail like it's 1800s. That's all I got to say on it.
That's the last of the list. I'm going to close public comment and declare about a 10-minute rest. I'm going to declare a 10-minute rest, 10-minute break, and we'll talk about it when we get back. If we get back to your seats, we'll go ahead and get back to work here.
Yes. Exactly.
Steve. Alicia's here. Hey.
Huh? Okay. We'll get her on just right. Yes.
Thank you, Lonzo. I forgive you.
Okay.
Thank you for my water.
I've had 2 people tell me they wanted to speak. Is there anybody else? 1, 2, 3. That looks like 5. I'm going to take 5. Then we've got to get on. You're one of them. Then we're going to get on with the rest of the agenda. Come on, sir. You got 3 minutes.
My name's Dana Tucker. I'm from Honeacre. I'd like to address Miss Wallace tonight. That way I can make sure I can drive my wife home. I know you don't, with you, and I can do this with you, okay? When I sent you an email, I'm sure you recall, I'm not going to ask you anything about it other than the fact that I did make the statement that I was going to take a $50,000 hit on my house, sell it after being here less than a year, and get out of this godforsaken county. Do you recall that? Yeah, you do. And it was all over noise. What people don't talk about is what else does Russell County have in common with these other counties? They ain't got no noise ordinance. You know why? They can't do it. It's not profitable for the degrees and the decibels they'd have to come up with. And that got me thinking, and then the county administrator, Mr. Lester, came up with the poison pill. And that's what I think it is. You see, the noise ordinance would now become a poison pill because somebody made a deal with somebody else that wasn't authorized to do so. You could very well have a host agreement that's void, ain't worth the paper it's written on, if they did not follow the law. For the people that reached out with the autistic daughter, B.J. King, the gentleman that was up here before with his daughter and her condition, her leukemia, me and my concerns, all forsaken so this landfill could get passed through. Because that's why it was. And the person, from president and past board members, all gave us the same advice. Go find the individuals that fought it the hardest to shut it down. And that timeline puts you back around 2019. Not what they're giving you. 2019, if you go watch their videos, the chairman has been opposed and fighting this noise ordinance the whole time, by his own admission as well as yours. You were ready to pass that noise ordinance. He suggested to go to the county, the sheriff's department, get some more info. Now, I gave him a FOIA request. 0, zip, nothing in writing. Now, I don't know whether he reported anything back to your board or not. I have no idea. You know. The rest of the boards know. But there's a clause that you're protected by in that indemnity, you know, for holding the positions that you do. I highly suggest you read that last sentence very carefully. 2012 in this county, boring year. What happened in 2013? Anybody know? 4 people got indicted, brother. We're in investigation for 18 months under the leadership of this very body of government. Not this board. Russell County government. Indicted and gone. You know what? Everything on that last sentence is what they stuck every one of them with. You new board members, I highly suggest you seek your independent counsel. Have them explain that to you very thoroughly. Because all you got to do is look at all the government officials in Virginia. They're all getting busted. County boards, city boards, treasurers. I believe you were on the podcast as well. I believe.
You have 30 seconds, sir.
Well, who's the person that got elected as the all-around person? Was that you? No?
Sir, you had 30 seconds.
With the amount of people that is opposed to this versus the amount of people that have supported it, it is our understanding somebody made a deal they weren't authorized to do. And before you go taking your votes, make sure that you're not privileged to any information you shouldn't be. Because this attorney is representing this board. Nobody here. The other guy's not allowed here because he got money from it.
Time, sir.
So,
Philip Puckett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Won't take a minute. I don't want to reiterate everything that's already been said tonight in 2 other meetings that I've been to. But I do want you to know I support the people who are here against the landfill. And I live fairly close to that. I live at Spring City on top of the Cleveland Mountain. And when I look back to the northeast, I can sort of see where the landfill is going to be, and I've got a feeling if it goes in, I'm going to smell it. And a lot of people are closer than I am. I don't propose to tell you that I have all the answers for what you're facing from taxes and landfills and whatever else, but I would say something that I've learned in my tenure in politics. Most important thing that each of you board members need to be thinking about is listening to your people. Listen to what the people are asking you to do. They'll help you get through this process. Your main responsibility is not voting up or down or more money or less money, but listen to what the people of Russell County are saying about this facility. Thank you very much for letting me speak.
All right, I had three other gentlemen wanted to speak. Yep, go ahead. What's your name and where you live?
David Ball, 50 Ball Drive, Cleveland, Virginia. Don't support the landfill, so please vote against any kind of host agreement that would proceed to give us a landfill that we don't want. And then my next concern was with Mr. Eaton's Facebook profile, like that just disappeared. I feel like that contains certain protected information, like citizen complaints and so forth. And I feel like that should be archived properly. If you were planning to delete it, I just ask that you please, consider that we would like to access the information that is protected, not anything else that you have personal. But we would be interested in, continuing the conversation where we left off. You were looking for solutions to some of the problems that you inherited. I'm not familiar with all those things, but if you want to continue the conversation, please come back. And that was all I have to say. Yield back. Thanks.
Two other gentlemen.
Stacy Martin. I live right here in Lebanon, Virginia. First off, I'd like to say good job to the school board. They had to step up. They had to make some hard decisions, and I understand they took a lot of flack for that. I do stand against this landfill. Would like to ask you all to consider voting no against it. We must shift our thinking away from short-term gain towards long-term investment and sustainability, and always have the next generations in mind with every decision we make. Now, I know all of you swore an oath of office. Just as myself and most of you who know me know, I try to do a lot for the community, especially the veteran community. Well, all those who served this country, they swore an oath too, and they took it very seriously. I ask you to take your oath of office seriously. A lot of people mistake elected representatives for dictators, leaders, punching bags for anything they don't like, I understand there's nothing you can do without taking flack from one side or the other. And I don't envy your position there. But elected representatives are elected to represent the people that put them there. Not their personal beliefs, not the account balances, not the checkbooks, but the people that put them in office. That's the oath that was sworn, and I believe there's still plenty of people with some integrity left up here, and I'm asking you to vote against that. With the investments made in the trails and the park around the Clinch River in order to replace the coal income with tourism dollars, risking that river, just that in of itself, that's just a poor financial choice. I mean, we're struggling. I look all over town. I see empty buildings. I see facilities that are right there that would be perfect for business to come. I'm not smart enough to know why they haven't, but I know that bringing a landfill in here isn't going to help put them in there. So I get tough decisions have to be made. I don't envy you that, but I do ask that you respect the voices that put you in the office, those of us who voted for you, and just please keep that in mind, bear that in mind. And, you know, I haven't seen one citizen show up at one of these meetings. With my work hours, I don't always get to them, but I watch the live streams. I haven't seen a whole lot of people stand up here and say, man, I'm for this. Please vote this in. Everybody's voting, you know, or speaking against it. One personal anecdote I'll give you. Through my work, we had a location in Bristol, Virginia, up until a little over a year ago. I was there 6 days a week. And I'm going to tell you, that was right over off exit 7, which is mileage distance, several miles away from that Bristol landfill. That smell was nauseating. Smell was terrible. And I hadn't had a nosebleed since I was 12 years old. I had an 18-hour nosebleed that I had to go to the emergency room. They called it a rocket that they stuck up my nose to put a stop to it. What really bothered me was the emergency room personnel said that they had seen about 30 of them in the last 2 weeks at that point, and all when the fumes were at their worst. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Well, one more fellow want to come.
My name's Donna Sayers. I live in Castlewood, High Point. I worked up there for 25 years where y'all gonna put that landfill. I know what's in under it, and I helped put the most of it down. That water leaks off that landfill already. Off of the site already. I went around federal inspector and we checked the water, it runned off. It'd catch a 5-gallon bucket in 2 minutes. That dam, he says, ain't too deep. I pushed up there for 9 months, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I filled that in. And when I was pushing it in, it would ride out while I was pushing it in, because they left coal in under it. They also pumped water in the old Cheney Creek mines back out for almost 15 years. 16-inch line went in that mines. And that's in under that too, where they filled the mines out. So y'all want to build on top of that? That's a bad site to build on, I'll tell you now. I ain't got no big education like these guys, but I know what's in under it because I put it there.
All right. That concludes public comment. I think we have the treasurer here now. We'll let her come and do her report. Alicia.
Good evening. I just wanted to talk to you just for a minute to let you know things that's going on in our office. Of course, tax tickets went out. We're in the middle of collection. We're going to have a real estate tax sale Monday at 10 o'clock here at the government building. But one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is, as Mr. Lester alluded to a while ago, is the values of our property that are going to go up. We've looked at some other counties that went through their assessments, and theirs has went up anywhere from 30 to 60%. We know what houses are selling for now, so we know ours are going to go up. I laid a piece of paper on each one of y'all's tables, and it is the elderly and the disabled form what would qualify you for an exemption. As far as I know, I've been here since 2009. This has never been looked at or adjusted. I just like for you guys as a group maybe to look at this before next time. These have to be turned back into the commissioner's office by the 1st of March each year. So we've got just a little bit of time, but I feel like the people that this assessment is really going to affect is our elderly and our disabled. And I feel like that if we can do something to try to help them with this going up, if we could look at maybe raising the limit on their assets or maybe even the amount that we give them as an exemption. But I just wanted to bring it to your attention and ask you guys as a board if you would take some time between now and then and look at this and see if there's something else we could do to help the citizens. And that's all I have.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Alicia.
Thank you, Alicia. Okay. Mr. Williams is not here, so we'll move on to the county attorney reports and requests.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a single request for the board tonight coming out of executive session. The county has been approached by Wise County regarding a confidential economic development prospect that has reached out to Wise to locate in Wise. Wise didn't have any available facilities or property for this particular prospect, and so they wish to partner with Russell County to jointly develop that economic development prospect. And in order to do that, and in order to share revenues between the two counties on this project, should it be successful, the county would have to enter into a regional industrial facilities authority, which would allow the two counties to officially and recognized by the state and approved by the state to jointly develop this economic development prospect and then share revenues, which we would otherwise be in violation of the Constitution without a RIFA. And so, Mr. Chairman, the request from the county attorney this evening is for a board member to motion to introduce that RIFA ordinance and allow our county administrator to publish it before a final vote on its adoption at a later meeting.
I'll make a motion to move on that.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this matter? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none.
Mr. Chair, that would conclude my portion.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wanda. All right, Mr. Lester, down to you.
No. I might have read out. Oh, here we go. I didn't know if the battery read out. Thank you, Chairman. Under County Administrative Reports number 1, of course, again, take a look at your the Russell County bylaws and take a look at the updates. Also, in the reporting is the Russell County road reporting systems that citizens had submitted to us through our system and that we have conveyed over to VDOT. Also, let me go through these since we're going through them. Also, the Russell County VDOT update, of course, Mr. Hensley asked for the surface treatment schedule, the surface treated schedules next time, so we'll make sure that's in there. Take a look at what board actions that we're doing. As you can see, the resolution on that will be for the June board meeting that they're asking for on Route 728, which is Davis Memorial Drive, and the Deep Forest Drive, and I'll have all that into the agenda. That has been requested by the property owners. Of course, we've got the maintenance activities and the rest for y'all's review. If you have any questions, the VDOT and myself will be glad to answer. Next is, of course, we had discussed before, this is the Commonwealth Development Opportunity Performance Agreement with the Tate Company that is in St. Paul. As you can see, this is the approval back from the VDP, which is the Virginia Economic Development Partnership Authority, which manages all economic development for the state and the governor. As you can see, this agreement has a capital expenditure that the company has guaranteed up to $14,850,000 and in machinery and tools, and also approximately $700,000 in furniture, fixtures, and business, and they will maintain 170 jobs at this facility. So this, the average salary at this facility is being put into the performance agreement of $52,020. That will be the average. This has already been signed and completed by the BDP, then IDAs, the Tate Company, and of course Russell County. Next on the county administrator reports is the Russell County Planning Commission bylaws and resolution. Now, what's before you on the Planning Commission was the updated bylaws that the Planning Commission has been working on. It is a draft that before y'all. They have also, you also see in your packet the original resolution in 1967 that established the Planning Commission within Russell County. I have talked with the Planning Commission chairman, and the Planning Commission currently is not only updating their bylaws, but they will be presenting a resolution to the board to update their resolution. So right now it was February the 6th, 1967, so it's a little antiquated. So I will have an updated request resolution from the Planning Commission at the next board meeting, along with the new resolution from myself and legal counsel establishing the Planning Commission guidelines in compliance with what resolution the Planning Commission and bylaws state. So that will be before the next board meeting. So please review the bylaws, and during the packet, myself and legal counsel will have the new resolution out from the county side, and we will have the Planning Commission's resolution also for your review. Next is on the county administrator request is, this one is easy, is a proclamation from the Building Safety Month, whereas the county is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends upon the safety and essentials roles of our home, buildings, and infrastructure, and it plays in everyday life and when disasters strike, and etc. with confidence. Where Russell County does proclaim the month of May 2024 as a Building Safety Month and encourage our citizens to join and participate in the Building Safety Month activities. I need a motion for approval.
So moved. I have a motion to declare May, as Lonzo stated. Need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none.
Thank you, Chairman. Next is another proclamation. This is from the Appalachian Agency of Senior Citizens. This one is the Older Americans Month 2024 proclamation. Whereas May is Older Americans Month, at a time when for us to recognize and honor Russell County older adults and their immense influence on every facet of American society. Whereas through their wealth of life experience and wisdom, older adults guide our younger generations and carry forward abundant culture and historical knowledge And whereas older Americans improve our communities through intergenerational relationships, community service, civic engagement, and other activities. And whereas the communities benefit when all people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds have the opportunity to participate and live independently. Whereas Russell County must ensure that older Americans have the resources and support needed to stay involved in their communities, reflecting our commitment to inclusivity and connectedness. Now, therefore, the Russell County Board of Supervisors does here proclaim May of 2024 as Older Americans Month. This year's theme, Powered by Connection, emphasizes the profound impact of meaningful interactions and social connections on the well-being and the health of older adults in our community. We call upon all residents to join us in recognizing the contributions of our older citizens and promoting programs and activities that foster connection, inclusion, and support for older adults. I need a motion for approval.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Motion and a second to support something that I finally qualified for. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none.
Let's see, the next on the county administrator request we have already approved, which was the VDOT Secondary Highway 6-year plan for the years of 2024, 25 through 29 and 30. I'll proceed on to, next on there is the Verizon Utility Relocation Agreement, which is at the Three Rivers Destination Center. This is a relocation of utilities and Verizon's main infrastructure powers that goes into Kentucky, the other parts of the county, West Virginia. This is a relocation. This is part of the Heart of Appalachians, the Three River Destination Center. This is paid 100% by DHCD and CPROP grants out of Cumberland Plateau Planning District. So as part of that, I need a motion for approval for Verizon relocation utilities.
Mr. Chair, it gives me great pleasure to make a motion that we approve this and be able to move it on so we can get that utility pole moved.
Have a motion to have a
I'll
second.
second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none.
Thank you, Chairman. Next is the Russell County DSA that we had mentioned previously during the budget. Going the wrong way. This is a DSS-CSA supplement allocation request to the county due to the foster care program. As we know, to make it out through the rest of the year, as you see, we are currently 75 children that's open to CSA with very few upcoming, referrals. So I am looking for, they are looking for a supplement of $45,966.61 for approval.
So
I'll make that motion, but DSS and the CSA is two separate budgets.
Yes, ma'am.
DSS has their daily operational, monthly operational, and CSA is for the combined services of all, be it attendance, be it school, be it mental health, be it foster care, and this is for the CSA, and it's for $45,966.61, and this should finish them out for the year. So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
will make that motion to allocate this money for the CSA.
Motion from Ms. Dine. Need a
I'll
second?
second.
Have a second? Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of this motion signify by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. There are none.
Next on the county administrator request is the Russell County Opiate Program Grant. We have before the Board of Supervisors a application for Secor Corporation, which is requesting $100,000 from our Opiate Program Grant. And if you don't mind, I would also like to, for the owner of Doug Grasnick to come and speak to y'all on way this was presented and how the Department of Corrections has reviewed this and the feds on the state guidelines. So Doug, if you don't
On that, Doug.
Good afternoon. Thank y'all for your time. I am the new owner of Secor. I've been working on this acquisition now for about a year, and finally got it to the point where we could bid on the project, the DOC, and we were awarded the contract in February this year. What Secor is, it's a community residential program. It's going to be considered the old halfway houses from years ago, but it's so much different now with the programs. This program is designed through the DOC for opioid convictions, addictions, things of that nature. When we get these folks from prison, we've got 90 days to get them into employment, home. We've got to find places for them to live after 90 days, vehicles to drive, and help them with their fines to the court system. We got to do all that in 90 days. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy to do that. The facility itself, we've already started construction. Actually, we're slated to open July 1 of this year, and I think we're on track for that. It's been a mammoth undertaking, and it's cost a great deal of money. And what we requested for is some of the opioid direct money comes down from the drug companies, I assume, right? So that's what we're requesting. We've got to buy vans. We've got to buy. I mean, everything's got to be updated inside the infrastructure of the building, and it's just going to take a whole lot more money than what we projected at the beginning.
Well, I will tell you, I had a conversation with Senator Pillion, that is actually the chairman of the committee that allocates the funding to the counties, and I talked to him again Saturday in regards to, and I talked to him about the regional jail funding, and this is not only going to help that, taking these people out of the regional jail, that's going to help on our budgetary plus life-changing type situations for some of these residents.
Our contract's for 50 residents every month for 90 days, which is going to be roughly 200 people served. All those people have to go to work unless they have some type of physical ailment that they can't work. So they have to go to work. They're going to be taxpayer citizens again, and contributing to society again. It's going to be helping local business. Because for years I've used these folks. They're good employees. They've made some bad choices, and that's pretty much it. But it's not only that with the residents going to live there, but we're going to be employing 18 to 20 full-time employees at the facility itself. So that's 20 new jobs.
I had a few questions for you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Are you sure? Yeah, I just had a few questions for you. So you said you're going to specify with like people who have addiction issues.
Right.
Are you going to be doing like a rehab type of thing, or are you just housing them and employing them?
It will be rehab counseling through certified counselors, Cumberland Mountain, and of course the local physician as well.
And I've had some questions about Secor from some of my constituents because they've heard some things that are kind of unsettling for them.
Right.
One of the things was that it would be sex offender specific.
Right.
Can you let us know about that? And is there anything? Well, first, just tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. No sex offenders.
Okay.
Whatsoever.
Is that in your business plan? You can assure the people of that.
I can assure it with the contract with the DOC. There is not we don't hold a contract to house sex offenders.
Okay.
Is that felony only, or is that also misdemeanor offenders?
It's any.
Any
type
period.
of sex offender.
Yeah.
So misdemeanor, felony, doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Right.
Okay,
The town zoning does not allow it.
okay.
Yeah. And of course, I think y'all got the zoning, but that all came from Kevin Tiller, the county attorney.
Okay, and did you have a question about the business license?
Yeah, have you applied yet for your business license?
No, I have not.
Where in writing is there will be no sex offenders, period, because that's a big concern. All it takes is one incident in our community, and it can destroy lives forever.
Absolutely.
So, I'm one that, I'm not saying I don't trust you. What I'm saying is, for the peace of mind of our community, we need to have that in hard writing, guaranteed that we're not opening ourselves up. Because a lot of times these people come from other places, right? And they get reintroduced into our communities, and then they stay in our communities. Right. And so that is a concern that not just myself has, but a lot of the constituents.
Mm-hmm. And I understand that and respect it 100%. I think the bottom line is it can't happen. The ordinance says it can't happen. We're not going against the ordinance, and we're not going to go against the town of Lebanon because it's zoned that way.
Well, the ordinance specifically says felony offenses. It doesn't mention. The concern there is anyone that gets a felony, and if they were to plead down and end up with a misdemeanor, that would be the concern there. Then they would not fall under the town ordinance of the felony. You follow me? There's a little bit of a loophole there.
Yeah.
I messaged the town manager a little while ago asking about that. He has not got back to me yet, but that's the way I understand it, the way it reads in the ordinance.
Yeah.
It's a felony offense.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not planning on taking misdemeanor, felonies, or anything.
My understanding is there's a higher payout for if you take sex offenders. Is that right?
What's that?
A higher payout per bed if you have sex offenders?
It is a higher rate, yeah.
So, Mr. Rasnick, I guess my question for you is the money a temptation to break the end of that and take a sex offender, a misdemeanor sex offender, because the town ordinance doesn't.
Well, even at that, even if we had a contract on that, you're not going to get the higher rate for a misdemeanor. And of course there is a whole lot of different.
Just trying to cover my bases.
I understand completely. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I could get you the contract from the DOC. If that's what you want.
Was it what exactly does that say? The contract? Because you didn't give us that contract, did you?
No. I don't think I got the.
Okay.
Ma'am, this is the board meeting. No.
Well, I have a few more questions, so maybe mine will take yours. Are you through, Nate?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I didn't want to interrupt.
No, ma'am. You go ahead.
All right, my question is, all right, so you own this, right?
Correct.
All right, is this a for-profit or a non-profit facility?
For profit.
So who collects the rent? Who will be paid this rent? $12,000 a month, I believe is what it is, correct?
The rent on the building?
Yeah.
The owners.
So you'll be collecting $12,000 a year.
Well, that's what's projected, yeah.
Okay. All right. And please forgive me. You know I'm a retired school teacher. The only thing that stops me is I don't have a red ink pen. But on your A is exactly the brief narrative of your description is exactly the same as your objectives. So you will need to change this before you send it to the state. Whoever copied and pasted, it hasn't been done correctly. And there are some misspelled words. And I promise I won't
Oh, yeah.
But I'm telling you so you can go back and look, okay?
Put your red ink on.
All right. Now, next thing I have to ask about this is it stated you have entered into a 5-year contract. Do you already have this in hand?
Yes.
Okay. Now, With this, in this comment here, you have all your employees. You say you're going to have up to 20. Well, you got 6 in your staff, and you've got 14 in your general staff, and you've got 6 transportation folks. But in your narrative, you tell me, and I know all this because I've already been through all this. Page 3 of it, you say you're medical director. However, in your list of payroll projections, you do not have a medical director listed.
Right.
Now, anybody that knows when you're messing with the doctor, they're going to get their fair cut before anybody else. So you're going to have to redo this and look at it, because if you don't have a medical director.
The medical director is going to be paid by the resident.
So their fee of, how much are they going to pay? I don't see in here that they're getting the fee. So how much are your residents
It's
going
going
to
to
pay?
vary. It's going to depend on the medical treatment they require.
Okay, but you're charging the state $90 a day for them to stay there.
Yeah.
So why are you double dipping? If the state's going to give you $90 for them to stay there, then why are you charging them? You're collecting twice off that person, and it's not a nonprofit; it's for profit.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand how you're saying it's double dipping.
Well, you're charging the state
right.
$90 a day
for our overhead
for them to stay there.
Right.
Well,
it's room and board.
Not according to. Let me find that. You know me and my marking. I write everything down. I can't help myself, and I apologize for that. But you do have it in here listed that you'll be paying, and you'll be getting a fee of $90 a day from the state and $52 a day for your in-home. Those that are having the ankle bracelets on, that you have. Here it is, page 12. Anticipated fee per resident, charging the state $90 a day and $52 for home monitoring. And you also have here your total maximum capacity is 75 citizens. Then over here in your documentation, in your narrative, you have 50. So you've got to check that. You've got to change
the contract's for 50.
Okay.
But the facility will hold up to 75.
Mm-hmm. So basically, okay, and then you also have loans will be converted to grants. You didn't list anywhere that you have a loan. You're counting on state money and our money. So what loans have you got?
Right now, we have the purchase of the facility itself, the property.
So the $12,000 that you're going to get a month is going to offset the cost of that. You're going to pay yourself $12,000 a month to help pay for the building.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here, total expected full-time employees within 12 months, 20, not including owners. So are you going to be paying? Are you the owners? Or y'all going to be paying yourself a fee?
The rent's what we're going to be collecting. Yes.
Okay. Well, and on page 7, your financial, well, it's not page 7, page 11, your financial plan. You said it's going to be a startup cost of approximately $1.8 million, but in your financial statement, you have it as 1.5. So you need clarification
Did you see the operating
on that.
cost? Take it from 1.5 to 1.8.
Okay. How many vehicles are you going to buy?
We're going to have 2 at the beginning, possibly 3.
Okay, and you've got $150,000 for those 3 vehicles. What are they, like 15 passenger vans?
No, they won't be that large, like 12 passenger vans.
All right. I hope I've covered everything, but so this is going to be a for-profit, and you're going to take the money and you'll pay yourself, and you will be charging the state. Make sure you have plenty of good records. All right, I guess that's all, Steve. I don't think I have any more back. Anything back? Oh, I do have these. Are there any clawbacks in your contract with the state if this doesn't go right? Will you have to reimburse? Yep.
Such as?
If this doesn't work.
If it doesn't work,
Something happens.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I do have just a little bit of a
Go right
question.
ahead.
So, are these gonna be Department of Correction, Virginia Department of Correction inmates, or are they gonna be federal inmates?
It's Department of Corrections is what we have the contract for. The federal contract we do not have.
Okay.
You don't have your contract yet, do you?
For the federal,
Uh-huh.
no, it's not been.
But you don't have state yet, or you do
Yep.
have it in hand?
We have it in hand as of February the 22nd.
Okay. Well, let's look at, here it is. It's page 14. I'm sorry, Lou. Me too. I just jumped in.
Go ahead, I got one more, but that's okay.
Okay. So you've allocated yourself $92,625 for February 24th. Do you have inmates there now?
Let's say that again.
Your proposed budget, right here, page 14, February the 2024, you had yourself a total expense budget of $92,625.
Projections.
Right, but you don't have anybody there.
No, that should have been. I don't know how exactly.
You had $100,000 for March, $115,000 for April, and $119,000 for May 2024. And there's nobody there yet. Yes, that's a projected income
Right.
statement projection.
And when the business plan was put together, that was the fall of last year. It's almost impossible to nail down your numbers before you start a business or before you start operating a business.
Okay.
And you still don't know even after the first year you're going to get close. You're not going to know.
So you think you'll have $1,500 a month building maintenance? You'll have $2,000 a month for vehicle maintenance? You're buying brand new vehicles. You better get a better warranty than
No,
that.
they're not brand new vehicles.
You're not buying brand new vehicles?
How can you buy? We get the new vehicles for that. I don't believe.
Well, you've got $150,000 in your
Right.
fixed asset purchase. 3 vans. And you said 3 used, 12 passenger. You got them $150,000. And you're gonna have $2,000 a month maintenance in their new vans? Okay. Okay. All right.
She's
Well,
never been in business.
and I was just wondering, on your budget.
These people are pretty rough on stuff.
Yeah. How can you be in the negative already, net income loss, and you're not even operating? You've got $76,000 loss, $34,000 loss, $29,000 loss, and you're not even in operation yet. And I know you said it was for the fall. So how could you make a projected budget to have a loss already?
Well, that would be the accountant that helped us prepare this, and we were going off the numbers from the prior owner.
Well, I'm going to tell you about my checkbook, and I think you better have me write your checks for you. I'm not that bad off.
Be great.
All right, Doug, I'll leave you alone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ms. Wallace, you have anything else?
No, I'm good now, thank you.
Anybody else have anything?
How can the county utilize what you're going to be doing?
Well, we can save the county quite a bit of money from the cost that you're paying the regional jail every month, because if they're ordered to go through C-Corps by the judge or any judge, that's going to take the burden from the county. It's going to put it on the DOC.
If you can get us some kind of projected number, I know that's just an estimate, but what that number would be savings, so we can see it and the taxpayer can see it.
Right. It's going to be difficult. Can y'all recall what you're paying?
Yeah, We talked a lot.
$17,000 a year to keep a prisoner at the regional jail.
Yeah, we run the numbers on just what, 10 beds?
Yeah, this is statistical stuff that I've heard from other reports.
From the budget committee's perspective, we just kind of took 10 beds, run the numbers on it as far as the cost savings that it would be from the regional jail aspect.
And so all of these would be from our regional jail. You wouldn't be pulling from anywhere else. It would help us here.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna help Russell County.
If you have a DOC from Virginia, you could possibly have them from any county.
That's what I was thinking.
If you have a DOC, that's for the state of Virginia. You'll
Yeah.
have them from anywhere. Eastern Virginia, Northern Virginia. It won't just automatically.
So I mean, it could save us money,
Let me
but
say
it
one
could maybe
thing.
not.
It's needed.
Mr. Lester, the thing that inhibits us from expanding drug court or our program that Missy runs, the workforce program, is availability of housing, right?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. So this is an outlet that we can expand both of those. For every person we bring in, either from drug court or from the regional jail, it saves, $16,000, $17,000 annually. So you can back that into a monthly, fee if you want to.
See, right now, currently, under the Russell
$4,000
County,
for a 90-day.
currently under the Russell County recovery houses that we got for male and female, we have right now 30, 22 males, and I think it's 8 females, maybe 9 now. So that takes a lot of the cost off of, the regional jail cost. They're staying in those facilities, and it is paid by OAA. Doug, I have a question for you, because I know that you had put in through the OAA for the state, and you have been working with Cindy Newman. What's the status on y'all's, I know that they were asking for some last minute things, but you've been cleared by the DOC, you've been cleared by parole, you have been cleared by, how far are you in the OAA process?
We've completed the application. It's under review right now. And I think the announcement before the end of the month on the award.
Well, like Mr. Egan said, we had got a call from, and Mr. Breeding too, we got a call from the OAA chairman, Senator Pillion.
Yeah.
And they spoke very favorable of this facility because in conjunction with the 22 and the 8 that we're doing, Russell County right now, with its opiate money, we carry what Senator Pillion was actually said, we carry what they call the goat seal. That goat seal means this in retreat. Our programs and what we allocate to on recovery is either prevention, treatment, or recovery. Those three acronyms right there. So we either try to prevent it, we're into the treatment, or we're into the recovery. So either program that we have either it meet or exceeds what the state says. And that's why from the OAA perspectives, Russell County carries that goat seal. So we're have a lot of oversight especially in our recovery programs. And yours was recommended by the OAA director, chairman himself. So, and that's for the board's consideration and knowledge too, and the public. So
now, that's one thing. It is very true. We do need this. It is something that is desperately needed. The current recovery house is a nonprofit, and it is not a for-profit for gain. This is not a private citizen that owns this building, and we rent from you. And it is desperately needed. But there's a lot of things that I think, personally, myself, that you need to revamp and relook at, because there's things that you need to go back and readdress. Misspelled words, the same thing. There's no objectives listed, but it's a good thing, and we need it. Russell County desperately needs it, but you've got to go back and look at some of this information that's in here, because for my clarification, some of your numbers just don't match. That's all.
So, Mr. Rassing, I heard you say that you don't have the federal contract yet you have applied for federal?
No.
Okay, are you planning on applying for a federal contract?
Yep.
Have you applied for federal grants yet?
No. No.
And one quick question. Why haven't you applied for your business license in town yet? Wouldn't that kind of be your
Just
first?
not got to that point. We've still got to go obtain a certificate of occupancy from the building inspector, health department permit, things of that nature. We're in the construction mode right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what if for some reason you didn't get your business license and we've already granted you money and you've already put all this work into it? Business license is probably pretty important.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing.
Not at this stage, no.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Probably 1st of June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as business.
Of course, the
owner, I
business
would-
license is not going to say anything on it. It's just going to say residential programs.
Would definitely like to see that contract though from the state. And if you know what kind of contract we're going to be looking at from the federal, I'd like to see that as well.
Well, you're not going to see us. I mean, the federal contract to its awarded to someone.
No.
If you want to go online and look at what they proposed for the city of Roanoke, you can do that. But that's up there.
Is there a chance in the federal contract that there? Because I know how it works with federal versus local. Federal can override local laws and ordinances, and that would be my concern. Is if the federal says yes, you can do this, and it says, oh, no, town ordinance doesn't mean anything.
Can do what?
To house sex offenders. Again,
Yeah,
that's the concern.
I don't know what else to say, Nate.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just not going to house sex offenders. Misdemeanor, felony, anything like that.
And maybe between us and legal counsel on as far as the OA grant, and he's got his own separate state grant. Between legal counsel, if it would give more assurance to the board or comfort to the board, we
state
Mr. Mr. Kaiser and of course Stephen David, we have talked about this too. If this is a private company for profit, so the only thing that we have is an opportunity for donating OAA towards that community or recovery or treatment program, same way the state does. But one of the things that we can do in our grant and covenants, if y'all want to give some comfort, is we can put a covenant into the grant that no sex offenders are allowed, or it's a clawback clause. We can put that in the grant that will give y'all assurance that there will be no sex offenders.
Would you be opposed to that, Doug?
Absolutely not. And if the town of Lebanon would want to put it on my business license, that would be good.
Well,
is that what you want?
Well,
I want every assurance from me and everybody else in this community.
We had this discussion, after I came out, and I would employ every board member to go out there and tour the facility and look at what's already been done, to see what effort's been put into this. But we talked about that with the county administrator about issuing the money after the business license has been received, and put those covenants in there. That way it would give assurance to the public that we wouldn't have these issues. And if you're not opposed to that, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and give that money to this with those covenants in place.
Once the business license is in place.
Wisdom business license have to be in place, and those covenants in that agreement. And you can let Doug review those covenants. Is that Mr. Attorney? Am I speaking?
I'm just listening to this.
Okay. Well, and then we can have it with attorney review. I'll put that in the motion with attorney review, and as long as everything's okay, and then the board can actually review it after that, and make sure their hearts are satisfied with it. But I'll make that motion. Go ahead and proceed.
Let me see if I understand your motion. You're making a motion that we go ahead and award the money that Doug has asked for, pending preparation of the document that says there will be no sex offenders as a clawback in our agreement.
Yeah, and the business license.
And the business
awarded.
Issuance of the business license.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that make sense, Mr. Wampler?
Good.
Felony and misdemeanor specifically.
Well, and add that in the covenant, the federal or state felony, or misdemeanor. Is that correct, Mr. Kaiser? Okay, okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, you'll put the language down.
Yeah. Well, okay,
We'll have
thank you.
Okay.
And I'll get a
Does everybody understand David's motion?
I gave a cover sheet of the DOC contract that y'all have it, but I will get a full copy of the DOC contract so y'all can see this.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Point of clarification, are we gonna covenant that they can't have any misdemeanor or felony, individual, someone with a misdemeanor or felony conviction?
It's just sex offenders.
Just for sex offenses.
Sex offender.
'Cause I was gonna say, if we did that, that would eliminate everyone in that building.
Whether
All
it's-
right, got it, make sure, thank you.
Okay. Does everybody understand that motion? If so, I need a second.
I'll second the motion.
Oh, 1 second. Now, I want everybody to be clear. This is not taxpayer money.
Exactly.
This is not taxpayer money.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, this is the money that we obtained through the
opiate
settlement. Yeah, this is not taxpayer.
That's going to be used for the treatment of opioid addiction.
And I'd like to, as personal, just me personal, I'd like to see you succeed. I know how it is in business. I've been in business 32 years. I know what it's like. And these projections, you can't project. And I think that if you succeed, we succeed. And I think that this money needs to be utilized more for these kinds of projects as you continue to grow and you continue to help us to help people and help develop this. I think we need to look a little deeper in it to help you more.
I think so. I appreciate that.
Did I get a second from somebody?
Nate.
For discussion purposes, one thing that was mentioned was that possibility of clawback. Should that be violated? Is there any need in that at this point with the requirement of the of no sex offenders, misdemeanor or otherwise being in there? Do we need to lay it out and say, should that be violated, we need to be able to recuperate that opioid money to be able to reuse that in something that another program that would benefit that process of recovery, prevention, etc.
That's what we're talking about. And
So just want to make sure Will's got that in there, that it's a clawback. It's not just saying you won't do this. There's a repercussion for doing it. If you do, there's a clawback in it.
Yeah, and that would automatically go back into federal court. When the courts adopted this, like I said, we call it the gold standard. That is very, very restrictive. So we have a lot of oversight on it. So if it comes back, it goes back to that fund to be utilized for other real good programs.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I think I understand what the board is getting at, and we'll work on making sure that happens before any further action is taken.
Very good. I can get a second.
Can I ask one question?
Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wampler, so if he does get the federal contract, will that change anything with what we've put in that? Because where Nate specified that with federal, it kind of changes things. Because I don't want to do this and we feel assured, and then he gets a federal contract, and then our clawback goes out the window, and he can get anybody he wants.
Mr. Chair, responding. Yes. I haven't evaluated any documentation on this yet, so part of my diligence as your attorney would be to review the contract with DOC, see what's in that, review the information that's been submitted by the company, take the comments from the board and the concerns of the board, and then give you guys options based off of that. Here tonight, I can't tell you what the potential outcomes would be based off a bunch of moving factors, but I like the documents and I like words on the paper, so I'll take a look at that.
Well, I do appreciate that honesty. I think sometimes that I don't know is an answer.
Well,
because we do need to look at things.
Tara's asking, will that clawback and that covenant apply to both state and federal?
It depends on how we write it.
That's what I was.
Yes, it depends on how you write it.
And can I make this suggestion that maybe we let Mr. Wampler do his due diligence and do his job, and then maybe table this motion to give him the money until Mr. Wampler does his research and then we vote on it maybe next meeting? What do you guys
We
think
do
about
it
that?
pending approval of Mr. Walters.
I love it when people put all the pressure on me. That's why.
No pressure.
Well, I think all that Tara's asking for is that it applies to both state and federal.
Both
And if you find that you can't do that, then you can report back.
I will report back
that'd be
to
a
the board
non-
on this, Mr. Chair.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure because, with state and federal, it's two different things. And like Nate
Yeah.
pointed out, federal things
Sure.
can
But
override.
what I'm saying, I don't want to hold him up as long as you can get what you need if it applies to both state and federal.
Yeah.
That was my motion, to make sure that it applied to both federal and state.
Yes.
Of course, we don't have anything to vote on because we don't have the paper. We don't have the
Well, that
document that's been created.
yeah, that was kind of
So perhaps we should table this until June.
Got a motion on the floor. Is it going to die for lack of a second?
Well, Nate said.
Well, I had a second, but
Oh, he did say.
But then we had discussion.
I mean, if we've got a motion on the floor, we need to go ahead and vote on it.
well, I can make a substitute motion. Can I not? Can a person who makes a second make a substitute motion?
No, but I can.
Okay.
Did you?
I said, no, but I can. I'll make a motion that we table this until next month, until the attorney has had every,
As a substitute motion.
I second that motion.
Okay, I have a substitute motion to table this until the June meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace.
Okay, everybody, any more discussion?
So we're voting on Lou's motion.
Tabling it
Table it
until
to
June.
Lou made the motion and.
Mr. Wampler is going to prepare the documents, correct?
And Tara, second. Yeah. Okay. All in favor of that substitute motion?
Aye.
Say aye. All opposed, say aye. There are none.
You okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
We appreciate what you're doing.
We'll straighten out this bowl of spaghetti.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Doug. Okay, Lonzo.
All right. Next on the county administrator request is travel request for the Russell County Tourism and Library. I need a motion for approval for the tourism department and the library. And
so
need a
moved,
motion.
Mr. Chair.
Have a motion? Do I have
Second
a,
it. I'll second it.
have a motion and a second? Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. There are none.
Next on the county administrator request is Russell County Planning Commission. The Planning Commission requests that the Board of Supervisors review the survey. This was a request. They reviewed the proposed plat from Mr. Gregory Killen and Eric Gardner and found that the combination of the lots to be acceptable based on the county subdivision ordinance. I need a motion for approval on the Russell County plat.
So moved.
Have a motion to have a second.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, like sign.
Next on the county administrator request is the VDOT resolution that I mentioned previously. This is on the Pure Salmon project. We had approved it one time before with a $500,000 grant. VDOT, after reviewing that to Richmond, they have increased that amount up to eligibility for the first $700,000 now, and eligibility for a total grant of $850,000, and only $100,000 that will come out of the coal severance as participation from the county. So out of a $950,000 project, VDOT has got an $850,000 grant.
I'll make a motion, and I want to say also, I appreciate you, our county administrator, for working on this heavily to get this done. This is less than what we had to do the last time, right?
Yes, sir. $200,000.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion to need a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
One place, Lonzo, it shows that there's 150,000, and then it looks like it's 100, but there's just a spot on there that says 150, I believe. Trying
It's-
to get down there to it. It's the county's responsibility.
Let's see, where are you?
I'm trying to get there.
Let's see, whereas the county of Russell hereby acknowledges that the Virginia Department of Transportation Economic Development Access EDA program may provide up to a maximum of $700,000 for the project and requires matching funds up to $150 of co-severance from the county of Russell for estimated eligibility. Project cost over $700,000 up to $1 million.
Okay. So that's up to 150.
Yes.
But we're projecting 100.
It'll cover up to $1 million.
Yeah, I'm talking about our
So he's asking, is our portion of our coal severance tax that's supposed to pay our roads, take care of roads, is it gonna be up to 150,000, or is it just gonna be 100,000?
Right now, based off the application, the estimate by Thompson Lynn and VDOT, the project is $950,000. VDOT is paying $850, so it's $100,000.
Okay.
That's what he was asking.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be responsible taking $100,000 out of our coal severance tax.
Yes, ma'am.
Add to that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I need a motion for approval.
I made a motion.
I second it.
We're in discussion.
You were in discussion.
Any further discussion?
That's all.
Okay. If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Or none. Okay.
Chairman, next one on the county administrator request is the host agreement public hearing date.
Yeah, I think we need to go ahead and set up maybe the June meeting for a public hearing on the host agreement. I think we're close enough. We probably need to have a workshop, and that would be the following.
That would be the following request.
Sometime
reconvene.
Sometime before the June meeting, we need to have a workshop.
Reconvene meeting.
Set meeting. Yeah, it probably would need to be executive session.
Yes, sir, because it's still under.
Well, yeah, we need to adjourn to reconvene at some point, say a couple of weeks away, and have the full board go over the host agreement and look at that. Then we can bring it to the public hearing and make it available. At that point, it becomes available to the public.
On June 3rd.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the thinking. We need to go ahead and.
What would be the date on the reconvene?
We got a date there, Lindsay.
That's what it's
Was it 17th?
Let's see. Today's 13th, so before the 3rd, you can do it the 21st through the 23rd or 28th through the 30th.
I mean, a date for the reconvening. Isn't that when we need to do it?
That's what I'm saying. You got the week of the 20th or the week of the 27th.
Well,
The 21st is our invitation to go to CGI.
yeah.
So I think if we're already here going to see CGI, we can come in here that day. And
I'll be going
you'll
to
be gone.
Duke.
Oh, okay.
Just
Well,
see-
I'll be gone the 23rd and the 24th. I might be back. I will say this: I might be back on the 24th. I could really push it, but I will be gone the 23rd. And then, of
Yeah,
course,
that's something like the 28th.
28th, I have DSS.
Huh.
I have DSS, 28th.
but that's at night. Could you come if we met Tara just a hair early?
Yeah,
So you wouldn't have to come back out.
Yeah, I
Make
thought
it
it was
all
going
at
to be in the
once.
evening. Yeah, that's fine with me.
We can set the time at any time.
Yeah.
I was just thinking because I know like Nate works.
It's
Andrew.
pushing me to get here at 5 o'clock for
Yeah,
executive
Andrew
session.
does.
That's what
So.
we're talking about. We could do it on a Saturday morning like we plan to do our meetings. We haven't done that a lot, but there's 25th. We can do it at 9 a.m., get knocked out. Everybody has the rest of the day to do what they want.
I don't have any problem with
May 25th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my suggestion. My 2 cents. It's not worth anything more than anybody else's, though.
that. 25th.
All our pennies are the same over here.
25th.
At 9 a.m.
Is everybody good with that?
Yeah, I'm fine.
It would be a date.
So it'll be reconvened.
Yeah.
Yes.
We need to put that in form of a motion, I guess, don't we?
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to,
Reconvene.
this will be the reconvene date. It will,
The May,
May the 25th at 9 a.m.
to set the reconvene date for May the 25th, which is Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Okay. Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. We're good. We'll set that date when we finally do adjourn. And we needed to have the June meeting on the 3rd, Monday, because VDOT's coming back with what?
abandonments.
Okay. I just need a motion to move our June meeting to June the 3rd.
6 p.m.
Yeah.
Yes.
6 p.m.
Yes, sir.
I'll make that motion.
And
Second.
that, along with the host agreement. Public hearing.
Yeah, along with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta
we need to have a
vote.
public hearing.
Gotta
Okay.
move the meeting.
Well, let's move it first.
Okay.
We'll move it to June the 3rd. I have a motion by David to move the board meeting to June the 3rd. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Okay, now do a motion to do the public hearing.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to do a public hearing.
For the host agreement.
For the host agreement.
Need a second for that.
So also on the 3rd. I'll second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay.
So,
And there are none.
before we get done with the county administrator request, since you're looking at dates, May and June's always busy because of budgets and tax and sets. We've got a budget hearing on the 3rd. You and I discussed reconvening either on the staying within the Code of Virginia. We are going to please look at y'all's date to reconvene on the 17th or 18th.
Right. We can do that at the June meeting. Adjourn to
I'd like to go ahead and publish
Go ahead and
it
set it.
now. That way we're set in stone. I've got not 2 weeks of advertising. I've got 4 because
So that
everybody
would
will
be
need
the
that.
17th you want to set as the public hearing on the final budget.
Yes, the official public hearing.
Can I get a motion to that effect?
That's probably planning commission. Philip, do you think Ernie would move the planning commission meeting? Okay. Should be fine
No,
for me.
is this June, Terry, I'm sorry, is this June the 17th?
Yeah, June 17th or 18th.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I'm all over the place.
I know. That's why I brought my book today.
And I'll go ahead and release those public notices this week.
I'll make a motion that we have it on the 17th of June.
I'll second it.
Motion and second, do it on the 17th. Any further discussion?
6 p.m.
If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
All right. Where are we now?
That concludes county
Board
administrator reports.
discussion and reminders.
Lonzo, not to interrupt you here, but I think you missed Mr. Ronald Compton had a boundary adjustment.
Oh, did I? Okay, hang on a
Pretty
second.
sure we didn't vote on that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hensley. Hang on a second.
Was that the second document, Andrew?
Yeah,
About
hang
the
on a
planning? That's what I thought.
Move to the side on me, I apologize.
Mr. Compton, we had a second planning commission.
Oh.
I'm sorry about that.
Right.
It moved to the side. So we got Eric Gardner and Gregory's. The second one, I apologize. Thank you, Mr. Hensley. Russell County Planning Commission requests that the Board of Supervisors review the attached survey. The commission reviewed the proposed plat from Ronald Compton and found that the boundary line adjustments for the Ridgeview subdivision was acceptable and based on the county subdivision ordinance. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. And second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. There are none. Okay, now we can do our final thing. Mr. Hensley, you have anything?
I just want to say thank you to the school board for helping our teachers out and hopefully getting them a raise and getting them paid comparable to what the adjoining counties have. But at the same time, the teachers left here not happy, but the taxpayer in Russell County, they're paying the same as they was 8-9 years ago. So inflation's hit us all, and how are we paying the same tax rate as we're paying today without changing it for that many years, outside of recovering some costs from cigarette tax, food and meal tax that's been created in that amount of time? But I'd like to see if we could find a way to help our tax-paying citizen. We got electric bills, elderly folks, medicine. I run into all different kinds of people. People are hurting, and those tax tickets come out, and then I just become a target. And if we can help people, maybe do something like what Alicia recommended, I appreciate it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Nate?
Lonzo, if you would ask I think Mr. Essex left, but if you would ask him before the next meeting to provide us with a copy of his business license, if he's got it at that point, which he said he was going to do it the 1st of June, and our meeting is right there at the 1st of June. So if he has that available, that'd be great. And the contracts, whatever contracts he has currently, to be able to provide that. I'd like to have it a week before the meeting.
Well,
that way we could review it.
Actually, we've got the I've got the contract number that you see up here from the DOC here that was awarded on February the 15th, 24. I will pull that out of EVA. That's setting on the state database, so I'll pull that and we'll send it to you.
That would be great. Oh, one more thing. I do want to set the record straight because it was brought up at the last board meeting about the previous board meeting. At no point did anyone on this board suggest that Jack Compton or Charlie Edmonds did not have their certification. There was some confusion, but it was pointed out clearly that there was only 2 people that anyone knew didn't have their certification on the planning commission. That was Tara and Mr. Ray. And that was pointed out clearly. I went back and watched it twice just to make sure. So if there was any confusion, it was with that individual, not anyone else. That was made clear.
I have a few things. I too want to thank the school board. They did have to make some hard decisions, but I do think that overall everything will work out good. And I'm so thankful that all the teachers got their raises. I think that is absolutely wonderful. I know, I was raised by a single mom on a teacher's salary, and it was not easy, to say the least. But I'm proud of my mama, and I'm so glad that she was able to do that, and so thankful that she did have that job. I also want to tell Alicia, thank you for coming and speaking, and I'm really excited to look at that paper, and hopefully we can help our elderly and our disabled with their taxes. There's no reason I don't think that we can't. Another issue that I've had people come to me a lot here lately, the trash dumps, and I don't know, I guess Lonzo or I don't know. They're closing early, they're opening late, and it's not just in my district either. I'm getting this, I have friends and family in all the districts, and they've been complaining about it. I've even gotten pictures, screenshots with the timestamp and whatnot. So, I really think we need to address that. A lot of people can't just take their trash off, between little windows. We work, we do things, we have responsibilities. So I think that's something that we really need to look at. and figure out what's going on with that.
Glad to.
Let's see. Also, Isaiah House, next expansion meeting, May 18th, 8:30 a.m. at LCF. It is open to the public. Anybody who wants to come, please come and help us. Just volunteer of your time however you possibly can. Last thing I'm going to say, though, last meeting, Nate kind of touched on it, as well as Philip. I was told by our county attorney that I wasn't able to vote. Of course, we since figured that out really quickly. He's not here tonight, but I'll let I won't yell at you, Mr. Walker. I wouldn't yell at Mr. Kilgore either. But I really think it's important that if we're going to state something, that we be accurate. We have people in this room that are looking at us, especially right now with a lot of scrutiny, and they don't trust a lot of what we have to say. So it is imperative that we research and that like I told you earlier, I don't know is a perfectly fine answer. Because I don't expect you to be an encyclopedia. Just like I hope you all don't expect me to be an encyclopedia. I don't know everything. Sometimes I'm going to have to pause and look it up. And that's fine. That is normal. But I just wanted to put that out there. And not just for Mr. Kilgore, but for all of us. If we don't know the answer to something, it's perfectly acceptable to look it up. Right. It took me all of a minute to look that up. And I already knew that we didn't have bylaws with the PC because I had asked for them in January when I was put on that board. I do my best to do my due diligence. So that's it. There's my soapbox.
Street?
No, I don't have anything. Thank you. I just want to, one thing, I just want to thank the school board and the day after day after day meeting on the budget to come up with the resolution that we needed to come up with to help the teachers get what they needed. But I will tell you this, you make a good investment, you get a good return on your investment. And I think this is one of our largest employers in the county, and this shows that we care.
Rebecca?
Nope, I'm good tonight. Thanks.
Lou?
I just want to say thank you to this board for supporting the $137,000 utility pole.
It's amazing how the power company works.
The world is connected on that telephone pole.
Is that it? Yes, for me. Thank you all for hanging in here with us. I know we haven't been very entertaining.
Do you need a motion to adjourn?
I need a motion to
we're gonna
adjourn to reconvene on.
I'll make a motion to adjourn to reconvene on the 17th.
I'll second.
Motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Amen.